So, what day is it today? Today is
It
the
is
4th?
Wednesday,
It is Wednesday,
June 4th,
June 4th,
2019.
2019. Wow.
The air is warm, it's 90 degrees.
All right, Martha Stewart. So, today is the anniversary of D-Day, I think. January.
Is it?
June 4th,
It is,
1940 something.
75 years, I think.
75 years?
1940, no. Yeah, 75 years. Think about it,
That's a long time.
1944.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that in the news.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That must have been an insane experience.
No one would know how
Yeah.
it felt like.
Yeah,
Different time back then.
different time.
Because, there was a time where people actually went to war.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it hardly happens. Like,
Yeah.
there's not even a draft system in place, is
Yeah.
there? Like, I know
Well-
I had to sign something when I turned 18,
Yeah.
but other than that,
I think they're still allowed to draft you, but they probably won't. I think the last draft was in World War II.
oh really?
I think so.
Wasn't it the Vietnam War?
Or it might have been Vietnam, actually.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it was Vietnam.
I know it wasn't Iraq. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
they,
for sure not
I don't think they
Iraq, yeah.
draft people during Iraq.
Definitely not Iraq. Yeah, dude, I don't know. When do you think the next war is going to be?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's going to be against China.
Against China?
Dude,
cold
let's
here.
talk about that. So I recently saw this video. I didn't tell you about this.
No.
On the breakdown of the U.S.-China trade war and why it was like a thing. Why is it happening? Is it really a big deal?
Is it a big deal? I didn't think it was a big deal.
Okay, so here's the catcher, right? Or
Is it a
here's the
big deal?
kicker. Apparently, so you know what intellectual property is, or have you just heard the term?
I've heard
thrown
of that
around?
term.
But you don't.
Yeah.
You haven't like researched it, right?
No.
Intellectual property, as far as I know it, is the idea that there are certain ways to build products. The engineering, the technology, whatever that goes behind these products.
Okay.
Okay. So from what I remember, China basically has this thing where if you want to trade with them, okay, America's good at innovation.
Yeah.
That's our biggest like key factor, right? The Chinese are good at manufacturing.
Sure.
Or cheap labor, let's put it that way, so that then they can go through the route of manufacturing.
Yeah.
So companies, obviously, they want cheap labor. They're profit maximizing, cost minimizing, right? To minimize the cost, you gotta pay workers as less as possible. And here, we have labor laws like minimum wage and all that kind of stuff. There's not much.
Yeah.
People are willing to work for very cheap. There's such a high population. It's like, dude, we're in poverty, man. We gotta do whatever it takes to, work. Or to make money and make ends meet. So anyways, cheap labor. Now, what happens is if you want to trade with China, there's like an unfair trade agreement with them in which you have to share your trade secrets.
Yeah.
Intellectual property, meaning the secrets of how to like build stuff, and they make rip-off items that we have, like Mikey shoes and like,
Nike.
Like Nike, but like with Mikey. Or some
Isn't
crap
that the
like
protocol when you get a patent? You have to give them how you made the product, right?
Yes, but the patent is filed with the U.S. government.
For the U.S. government, yeah.
And I think it lasts about 18 months or 1 year. It depends
1
on the
year?
patent, I think. I would have to double check. Don't quote me
We're
on
not
any of
experts
this.
on that kind of property.
Yeah, yeah, I could be wrong, but this is from just general knowledge of what I know. So the idea is that we have, if you look at the numbers, which I forgot the exact numbers, but our trade with China, we're buying a lot more from them than they are from us.
Sure.
Okay, so when we trade, it's like we trade more with other nations. We traded more with China, and China trades more with other nations.
Okay.
So we're giving them our business,
Yeah.
and they're profiting off of that business. So the key here is no other country wants to go against China because they're like, oh, dude, we can't go against them. Like, we need them or whatever. There's only one country that probably doesn't need China in terms of trade.
Yeah.
And that's us. So if we pull back, it really comes down to who needs the other more. So the price Americans have to pay is literally higher prices in terms of goods and services, right?
Yeah.
That's how otherwise Chinese products would, come into the market or Chinese-made products would come into the market, and we would have cheaper prices. But in the long term, it will benefit us in the sense of American companies will have more of a fair chance to compete abroad and compete at home.
Right.
They're not competing against Chinese-made products or whatever, you know. So when they have a better, I guess, chance to compete in the long run, American dominance in terms of consumerism will be more widespread around the world.
Sure.
This is the whole U.S.-China trade war and what it's all about. And you could literally, it all comes down to bargaining. Bargaining. It comes down to deal making. It comes down to how much are you willing to, how much does one side have, how much does the other side have, who has the advantage, and whoever has the advantage or leverage, that's what they say. It's a whole leverage game.
Yeah.
If you have more leverage, you have the cards in your hand. You can make them do whatever you want.
Doesn't China have the most leverage right now?
We have more leverage than them in this situation.
Okay.
Leverage. They have more leverage in the sense that they hold U.S. debt. They hold, I think, what is it, $1 point something trillion dollars of U.S. debt.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money. Or they hold a bulk of the U.S. debt. Let's put it that way. I don't know if it's 1 trillion or whatever it is, but they hold a bulk of it. If they decide to sell off that debt to another country, what probably is going to end up happening is our economy is going to be even worse than 2008. So they hold big cards.
Okay.
But here's what happens: their economy will tank as well because the world economy will be shifted a lot. And on top of that, if they do sell our debt, we are not going to pay them back, essentially, the extra amount that we owe them.
Right.
Which means they would lose anyways, you know? So they would lose more than we would lose,
right.
But we would all lose. So they're probably not going to pull that card. So essentially it's a risk game that Trump is playing here. He's like, who has more balls, essentially, to like stand up for themselves and like put their foot down, you know?
Yeah, that sounds
it's like a game of chicken, let's put it that way.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I get the idea that Trump knows what he's doing because he's doing all these like weird things.
Yeah.
And I see him on the news all the time saying this about China and this about China.
Yeah.
I'm not too knowledgeable on it, to be honest.
I'll send you the video that I watched. It's like an 18-minute video.
There's a ton of videos out there in general.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't see how it affects the daily life. I don't see how I have been affected by the trade war. Like, I was able to buy this, and I think it's made in China. And I'm not too sure many people realize how many of our products are made in China in general. So, should the average person worry if this trade war goes on further and further?
The only thing they would have to worry about is higher prices, really.
I think that's one idea, yeah.
Yeah. If not, then anything else would be, and also here's the thing, right? What they're really seeking, what China's really seeking, is obviously to become the #1 superpower economically in the world.
Aren't they?
You know, they're not.
It's us, isn't it?
It is. It is us. But they're #2, and they've been catching up very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly, and it's because the main reason is because they're adopting. Okay, the way an economy grows is you have capital, you have labor, and you have technology.
Sure.
Those are the three factors that go into the production of the growth of an economy.
Yeah.
Long term. So they have labor, obviously. They have over 1 billion people, you know, like 1.4 billion, I think it is now. They didn't have capital. Capital meaning like the machinery that's used to actually build whatever, you know, the products that they need. Technology they didn't have until they copied intellectual property from the US. The #1 factor, if an economy wants to keep growing long term without hitting a peak, is technology. That's the #1 factor, and that America has the biggest advantage in, because that's why we're, even though we have a population of 330 million, which is like, what is it, like 20%, 25% of China? Yeah. We still have, we're still producing a lot more. Innovation, technology, whatever, right?
I think because most of the big companies are stationed in America, right? So you have Apple, you have Microsoft, Google, the main money drivers. Amazon, I think, too, as well. Yeah. So that's pretty much the main reason why we're #1.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they because companies like it here, don't they? In general.
Yeah.
It's
just a favorable environment for business.
Less taxes, something like that.
Yeah.
Higher standard of living. So, you know, it's not a big surprise America's still #1.
Yeah.
And I think there always will be. Do you think China will catch up?
It might catch up, but I don't know if it's going to stay there for long, because the problem is the way China's been growing and the rapid growth in economically that they've been having is because of capital. They've increased their capital. They've always had labor and cheap labor. But the second factor they're maximizing out, which is capital, right? They have the actual machinery now to build all these products, and they sell these products abroad. They get money for that, right? The problem is intellectual property, the technology, the rip-off products, the actual innovation. They don't really have an advantage in that field as compared to the US. Now, one of the biggest factors to take into consideration here is it's a power game. It's not even necessarily all economics. It's a little bit more of a power game, because it's like you want to spread your ideology around the world.
Sure.
Whatever it is, some people say it's not communist over there. It's becoming more and more capitalist. Some people say it is still communist, but it's like mixed in with some capitalistic tendencies, so it's more socialist, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah.
But they're basically trying to say our ideology is perfect because America is weak because its leaders listen to its people. China is strong because its people listen to its leaders. You see what I'm saying?
Is that a bad thing?
That's the thing. That's their ideology, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of something that they want to spread around the globe.
Right. Yeah. Authoritative type of deal.
Yeah. So that's why I think it is more. I think it's more important than people think it is.
Okay.
There's other implications behind it. Let's put it that way.
Well, there's no secret that they dominate manufacturing fields in general, because their production rate is through the roof.
Yeah.
I've seen videos where they can literally produce bridges in 2 days.
Wow.
They can just, have a team of engineers and a team of construction workers lay all this concrete down and all these pillars, and they can pretty much build infrastructure at a rate that no other country can.
Yeah.
So another field they dominate in, I think, is the networking field, internet, technology in terms of Huawei Productions. You know what I mean? So Huawei is a company that owns a lot of the internet infrastructure. So I've heard this from Joe Rogan, heard this on articles here and there, but Huawei is becoming a big problem, Trump has said. I think he's banned all product consumption from Huawei.
From Huawei?
In America.
Okay.
So we no longer have Huawei on the market available to Americans. I'm not sure how that goes. But I just know that he said something about it.
Right.
For those of you who don't know who Huawei is a technological company based in China. It's a Chinese company. They produce a lot of products like phones, computers, networking equipment. They provide a lot of internet service. They are a leading company in research of 5G. So in respect of cellular devices. I'll point to my phone, but my phone's right there. So we're now on 4G, right?
Yeah.
And they want to increase the speed and the efficiency of, I guess, phones to 5G. So that's a huge, increase in data management and internet access and just cellular efficiency overall. So Huawei, people don't know this now, but Huawei, they own a lot of the internet, I guess, space nowadays. So you have that was loud. So you have companies like AT&T, Verizon.
Yes.
Companies like even Apple. They're not completely controlled by Huawei infrastructure, but there are a lot of independent services out there that are dependent on Huawei. So you have like independent cellular services like throughout America, like the Midwest here and there.
Yeah. They
get their services from Huawei.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, I don't know the stats like per se, but I think they own 42% of, I think, internet access in America.
Right. Okay.
And I think like second up is Ericsson and some other companies like that. But the idea behind Huawei is they are at the top of their field. They produce, high-end phones. They are really competitive in the computer market. I don't know much about them, to be honest. I just know that they exist and that they're doing all these like innovative things, and that they're very good. So, you never heard about Huawei, have you?
Not until recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I remember I showed you that video.
You did.
MKey VHD. He's like a big YouTuber, and he had the whole video explaining that.
He talked about Huawei, and Joe Rogan did too. He always talks about it. He's like, dude, Huawei,
Yeah.
they're good.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I've never used one of their products. Maybe I have. I just haven't noticed.
Yeah.
So who knows? And people are. I think in the tech industry in general, like the YouTuber you showed me, they're all worried about Huawei.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we need to worry about Huawei. Like they're going to do something, to take over the market.
Yeah.
I think they're like the Apple of
China?
Of China.
Really?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Wow. Okay. That's Speaking of Apple.
Oh yeah. Apple.
Apple recently released their newest OS for the Mac operating system, and iOS, which is for iPhones and
Android,
iPads and whatever. Yeah.
Every Mac device.
Yeah. And then what else? I think that was it. Then they released a monitor and a Mac, like a big Mac computer.
So they're going with a desktop, I think. It's like a legit hard drive that they're selling, and it has a huge monitor, right? So it has a monitor that's able to transmit 6K video, and that's a huge deal because nowadays like 4K is like the most commercially available video, but they're going with 6K.
Yeah.
We've seen 12K, not 12K, like 8K. We were joking about that.
Yeah.
8K here and there, but they're not really available as much.
Yeah.
But
6K. Their monitor is 6K now.
6K, and if you don't know what that means, it's just like
resolution,
higher resolution of pixels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like 6 million pixels in 6K. So
6,000, right? Oh, 6 million actual like.
6 million actual pixels.
because you multiply the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's better. So it's a better screen, higher resolution.
Yeah.
People love high-tech TVs in general.
Yeah. It's
plasma screens.
Yeah,
like
plasma and LCD, LED now, and then they have a new technology called OLED.
Oh yeah? Wow.
Organic, I think. LED.
Organic. Biologically grown.
Imagine.
They're growing TVs in their backyard. So yeah, I mean, technology nowadays, it's going through the roof. There's Moore's Law, right? Like every year, I think is it every year? I'm not
it's
sure.
18 months.
Every 18 months.
Computing power doubles.
It doubles.
Yeah.
So machines become smarter.
Yeah.
Machine learning gets doubled.
Processing power increases.
Everything doubles.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And that's the crazy thing is that if it doubles, it's not like it increases by the same increment every time. Because if you think about it, it starts off at like, let's say it starts off at 2. If it doubles, it goes to 4.
Yeah.
If it doubles again, it goes to 8. It doesn't go to 6.
Yep.
Then if it doubles again, it goes straight to 16. And then the impact is exponential,
It is exponential, yeah.
So, yeah, it has a multiplying sort of effect.
Well, you're not a tech guy in general, right?
I used to be more so than I am now. Like, I don't follow tech as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me neither. I don't know the recent news in respect to tech.
Yeah.
The thing I know now is that Mac recently had a conference, and everyone just makes everyone makes fun of that conference.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like it's bullshit.
Yeah.
All they're doing is selling you more crap, and they're making it more expensive.
Yeah.
Like they were making a joke that they're selling a stand, and it's $1,000. It's called like the Pro stand. It's for the monitor.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's for the big monitor.
Oh, okay.
And people were like, they were making memes about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is $1,000 stand.
Yeah.
They're gonna buy it too.
Apple knows how to generally market their products in such a way that they're gonna be able to charge you a lot for
I think that's what they
those,
offer the most. That's their best skill.
Yeah.
They know how to market. Have you seen those
videos?
Mac stores?
Oh, and the stores. Yeah.
There's just
They're
like
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing but advertising.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's how they compete in the market.
Yep.
And a lot of people, they're attracted to it. Because you have a Mac, iPhone is the most popular phone nowadays.
iPhone, yep.
And what is it, iMessage? That's the most popular
iMessage,
way of communicating now.
Yep.
Yeah. Every teen movie I see or teen show, there's always like iPhones and Macs on the screen. So
I think also part of their appeal is the simplicity behind the design and the design of the hardware and the software too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a very I guess user-friendly type of machines.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone can just log on, get used to it.
Yeah. Very simple.
Simple devices.
Yeah.
That's what America wants now, especially this kind of culture.
Oh yeah.
I think most of the I don't mean to like trash talk, but most of the left they like
Apples and products.
Apple products in general.
They do actually.
And other big companies that are pretty much capitalist. So Starbucks, Amazon.
Yeah. They're all those. Yeah, that's right. That is right.
Yeah.
And then they complain about capitalism, and
They
it's like,
do.
come on, man.
It's a bad
Capitalism
thing.
gave you all that stuff, you know, like. But hey,
It's the patriarchy. They don't like it.
that's the patriarchy.
They do not like it. I recently read an article that I sent you. Transgender is no longer considered a mental disorder by a few organizations. And I didn't even know it was in the first place.
To be honest, I didn't either until you sent it to me.
Right. And the only person I've heard that say it is a mental disorder is Ben Shapiro. And you know, Ben Shapiro is like a loose cannon. So he says whatever
He's
he
just gonna
wants.
say, he's more on the conservative end of that political spectrum. So
Very religious too.
yeah, and very religious. So I would expect him to say something like that. And I was, when I heard him say that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, he doesn't like actually mean that, you know, or maybe he does, but like, that's not an actual like. Transgenderism is not actually a mental disorder as defined by that, you know?
Right. I think we're taking it out of context. I
Yeah.
think he said that in a sentence, but what he was trying to convey is there are individuals out there who are mentally ill,
Yeah.
and they so happen to be transgender.
Okay.
Because I think his
Possibly.
backup stat for that was most of the suicides out of like the LGBTQ community are transgender people, and I think that's true. I think do they top veterans? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
We don't have stats or a computer here. But yeah, just in general, I mean, that kind of, you know, protected class of people having a lot of issues in general. It makes you wonder, are they mentally disordered? Are they not mentally okay?
Yeah.
They are oppressed in general. A lot of people don't like them. You know, no religion likes them in general. We got a lot of conservatives that don't like him in general. I've never had a real conversation
About transgenderism?
with a transgender person in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I recently talked to a trans person. This is like 2 weeks ago
Were
at
you
a party.
blessed?
But I didn't ask them about it. But it was very obvious this person was trans. you
Oh
know?
yeah. So you just talk to like a normal
Yeah,
person.
talk like a normal person, you know, and we just had a conversation.
And I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, they are a person.
Yeah,
in general.
yeah. As long as you don't, I mean,
You don't have to be their friend. You don't have to like. hate
yeah,
them.
you
It's
know,
just-
like as long as I treat them like a person,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't dehumanize them, I don't see any problem there.
Yeah.
This person was actually going to go to UCLA, and
Okay.
they're transferring. And I was just asking her, you know, or him, or
See, that's where
I'm
it
not
gets
going to get
confusing.
into that. I'm not going to get into that because
You see?
I didn't ask that person like,
Okay.
about the pronouns or what they wanted to be called.
Right.
I didn't really even say him, her, they, whatever.
The fact that conversation, that whole like stopping your thoughts happens.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
I know.
what do I call you?
I didn't ask them, but I just assumed.
Okay.
But anyways, we just had a conversation about it, and normal conversation.
Normal.
Yeah, we just went about our day. I talked to this person for a while, then I moved on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why can't it be like that?
Why can't it be like
Why
that?
can't people just be like that?
Yeah, seriously, dude.
They gotta make a big fuss about everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's been persecution throughout history with any kind of class of people.
Yeah.
You know, Christians, Muslims.
Yeah.
People just don't like people
Yeah.
throughout history.
Yeah.
And they'll find something about them if they happen to like them, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's the whole political platform nowadays.
Yeah.
People just being mad about each other. And it's a huge power game.
Yeah.
And we keep repeating ourselves about the politics in America.
Yeah.
But as of right now, June 4th, 2019, we have the primaries coming up soon, actually. So the Democrats and the Republicans are going to cut down their candidates, and they're going to push forward a main candidate to run for president.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk on the Democrat side, Democrats, and there hasn't been much talk on the Republican side.
Has not been?
No, because there's only Trump and another guy running for president.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That's right.
That's kinda
So
strange.
they're not going to have a debate. There's no scheduled debates. The first Democratic primary debate is June 23rd?
23rd?
24th?
24th? 23rd?
I have to double check that.
That's pretty soon.
June 26th to 27th.
Oh, wow.
In Miami. So it's coming up in a couple weeks.
Wow. Is Andrew Yang going to be there?
Yes, I think he qualified. He barely qualified, dude.
He barely qualified?
Yeah, because I think to qualify, you have to be... So there's like 10 candidates, I think, that can qualify to be in the debate. He barely made it in 10th spot.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, dude, congratulations. You know, I think there's like 20-something candidates running. So he's in the...
Oh, right. Nice.
He's in 10th place. And he made his way up, actually.
Oh, yeah?
He used to be like somewhere in like some bottom part. But I think because he's been like going and rallying a lot harder than most people would.
Yeah.
Going to not just one end of the spectrum, like he's going to conservative platforms, like he was on Ben Shapiro's show.
I think he was in Wisconsin recently, too.
Oh, yeah?
I think that's a red state.
Okay.
But yeah, he was on Ben Shapiro. He's on all these different interviewing platforms.
Yeah.
So that pretty much raised up his popularity.
Right.
That's how I heard about him.
Yeah.
When he went on Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched Joe Rogan.
Oh, man.
So, interesting guy. We've talked about him before.
Yeah.
Cool guy. Very, very logical, very to the point.
Yes.
Doesn't play identity politics at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of young guys and young girls like him because he really appeals to college graduates. He really appeals to the struggle of being a young American because he really touches on the idea that college students nowadays have it tough. And I don't mean to sound, like
privileged or whatever.
Yeah,
or
like I need
whiny.
Whiny, I'm weak. But most graduates are now underemployed. And what that means is they graduate with a degree they put so much time and effort into, but they end up getting a job that doesn't require a degree, or it is not as, qualified net to that degree that they got. So that's a big problem nowadays. And plus the student debt, that's another topic. People are graduating with like $250K of debt, of loans.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
I mean, that is ridiculous. Because you're pretty much selling your soul to the devil. Or to,
signing a contract with the devil.
In this case, to the government. Because you can keep taking on loans and loans and loans.
Yeah.
And it just digs yourself deeper into a hole that you have to get out of sooner or later. Because they're going to be paying off that debt for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Even if they get like a good job, like an $80,000 per year job. But that's even if you're lucky to get that kind of job right after college. Kind of depressing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, do you know any college graduates who are doing honestly good right now?
I know maybe a couple.
Couple?
Because those people were very, very, very involved with what they wanted to do beforehand, like real estate, let's say.
Sure.
We had a real estate club. The president of the real estate club is obviously doing very well.
Sure.
I mean, he's pursuing his dreams in the real estate industry or that field, commercial real estate. Cool. Good for him. I would be bored to death if I was doing that right now, even though I signed up for it and I tried to get into it.
Yeah.
I wasn't as involved as I could have been and as I should have been. But that's, I don't know, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Like, that's the only people who I know who are doing well out of college.
Oh, yeah?
Most of those people, on the other hand, like one of my roommates, we know him, Abraham, still looking for a job, dude. Still, kind of going to trade school. I don't know if he's going to trade school. He's getting his license to be a substitute teacher in the meantime, just to make some cash on the side. I haven't talked to him in a while, but most kids do struggle to get a job out of college nowadays. It's becoming more and more competitive, and college is not necessarily the way of the future. You know, it's the way of the future for people who want to be lawyers, doctors, engineers, but not necessarily anything more. It's like, what else could you go to school for, unless you want to be like an economist working for the government or something like that? You know, it just doesn't seem to make sense. So much of the UC system especially is so theory based, you know, it's not practical based.
Okay.
So they're not going to teach you about the practical jobs that are out there and how to pursue those jobs. They're coming at it from an assumption of you want to learn education.
Okay.
You know, like you want to educate yourself, and you want to maybe take on the role of a professor, or you want to take on an actual government job that, you know, helps with these things. But I don't know, it just doesn't seem to make so much sense to me. I feel like college can be a scam for a lot of people if they don't know what they're getting themselves into.
It can. It really can.
You know, so. And
people, they like to cheat the system nowadays. And I'm going to shift the conversation a little.
Okay.
I'm reading Andrew Yang's book, and he touched on the topic of how when people lose their jobs, the government can essentially help them get retraining and then get themselves back into the workforce. What happened was, when they went through these retraining programs, like at different schools, like for-profit schools or independent schools, colleges, those colleges were able to pretty much grab the money from the government.
Oh yeah.
And you know, get a free paycheck from the government. So they weren't really teaching valuable lessons to the individuals who needed to get back into the workforce. And I think we're seeing that even now in major universities, because you even said to me at UCLA, they like to waste their money.
Oh, big time.
Ridiculous things.
They had a desk that cost $1.8 million that they just spent on, and it's a fancy table, like a huge fancy like wooden round table that covers like a good chunk of the space that was in one of the study halls, and they recently made that study hall.
Yeah.
They're like, come on, $1.8 million, you're gonna spend it on that when you could have allowed more kids into the university, or you could have given kids more of a discount on their education, you know?
Tuition.
How are you spending this money? Like, it's a government institution technically, and sometimes you just can't, you don't know whether you can trust the government institutions so much, you know?
There is definitely a misuse of money.
Yeah.
Overall.
Mismanagement of money,
Yeah. Because, I don't know, they're huge. You're talking about institutions that have been there since like the 20s, I think. I think Berkeley was one of the first colleges out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, Harvard, Stanford, all the Ivy League schools. A lot of them are definitely trying to make a profit. I mean, that's no secret. They try to get a lot of the out-of-state, out-of-country individuals to pay a lot more.
Yes.
But that's like a weak argument. I mean, academia nowadays has become more of a definitely a leftist platform, but at the same time it's become more of a I guess status symbol.
It has been,
for most people. To go, I go here, I go there. You need to go there just to say that you went there. There's definitely a lot of that, and a lot of kids have that mentality, especially when they come out of high school. When you're in your junior year, that's all you think about. It's I have to go here, I have to go there. Why? Because I have to. It's such a misrepresentation of how, you know, to be an adult, I suppose. How it is really in the workforce.
100%,
Because I haven't heard any employer tell me, like, oh, what school did you go to? And then when I tell them, they're like, wow. Most of them don't care. Is education really worth it nowadays, do you think?
It depends on what you want to do.
That's true.
Depends on what you want to do. If you want to like I said before, doctor, engineer, lawyer, or if you really want to work for the government in terms of like economics, right? Yes, it's worth it. And actually, not even just worth it, you need it. You need it. You know, you need to go to law school. But a lot of, I don't know, a lot of these studies that you get, a lot of these, like okay, the one person I talked to, the transgender person, they're going to UCLA doing a gender studies major. I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, what do you plan on doing? Like, if you plan on using that major properly, like, by all means, more power to you. But I don't see how you would use that.
What exactly is gender studies? Let's talk about that.
To be honest, I'm not too sure, but I think it has, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with just the study of, like, genders, obviously, but, like, men, women, boys, girls, how, I guess, society has impacted them in different ways in terms of their gender roles. You know, we have like the masculine gender roles versus the feminine gender roles, and how we need to, how this sort of teaches men and women to be a certain way.
Okay.
But, you know, being such a leftist major and a discipline, I'm assuming...
Can't believe that exists, but go on.
I'm assuming that they try to talk, I don't know this, but I'm assuming that they try not to talk so much about biology.
Okay.
You know, and I'm assuming
that's what I would assume they would talk about.
That's what, exactly, right? Like, you would think so. You would think you would have like
the most logical thing to do.
Exactly. Like, you would think like, okay, how is it that, you know, men and women differ in their biological whatever it is, you know, their hormones, their whatever.
Yeah.
And how this affects their thinking and processes, and their brain is, how their brains are actually literally wired differently.
Right.
You cannot say they're equal because they're not wired like this. They're completely different. And I can point the studies out, you know, where they've actually mapped out the brain and they've seen the wiring in different regions is completely different. I think it was that men have 10 times more gray matter in their brain versus women have a lot more white matter, and that influences the things that actually makes up the brain, you know, like different portions of the brain.
You're not just being racist.
No. No. But the white and gray matter, they affect different emotion. They have different emotional impacts on the brain. They, I don't know. They literally cause you to perceive the world in a different way. Okay, and I don't know the exact different ways, but there's research on that. Now, is it a bad thing? I mean, you know, one of my friends was saying, we know this guy, Michael, we were having this conversation at one point. We were saying, like, I told him, I was like, yeah, well, it says right here, like, women have, I think, 10 times more gray matter is what it said. Or white matter, I don't know which one it was. Now,
white matter.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, dude, like, that's just like a 10% difference. And I'm like, no, that's wrong. 10 times is 1,000% of a difference.
Oh, wow.
Do the math. You know, I'm sure you can do it.
It's a lot of math.
You know, so when you tell me that there's a minute difference because of that, I don't think that's necessarily true, and that these things biologically will have a major impact on how we perceive, you know, men and women, and how they act differently.
When I first heard of gender studies as a major, like, I think Mount SAC, that was an option on the scroll. I was like, logically, I would assume they would biologically analyze each of the genders independently and see how they developed throughout history. But no, what they're doing is they're making a lot of studies, and I'm saying making as in make up. They're making up a lot of studies about, you know, different dynamics of different genders. There's like polygender. I can't even name them.
Okay.
But what they're doing is they're feeding a lot of academic data to this kind of field.
To make it seem like it has legitimacy.
Exactly. Yeah, to make it seem like it's a real thing. And to me, that sounds like, you know, straight up bullshit. It's straight up academic dishonesty. And that's a big thing in the academic field.
Right. So, didn't you watch this one podcast about how these two professors actually uncovered?
Yeah, my favorite podcast.
Your favorite podcast of all time, practically, right? Could you talk a little bit about that, because I
forget their
don't
names,
even know.
But Joe Rogan not recently, but in the past, he had these two individuals who were professors in the academic field. One was from Poland. Another was a professor in mathematics. I don't know where he taught. But I forget their names. I really should know their names. I watched that podcast like 20 times over.
Right.
But I like to watch that podcast once a week, at least once a week, because it's such an important discovery that they found. What they found, these two professors, is they found proof of academic officials and higher authorities passing by legitimate studies that promoted a lot of the leftist ideas. And they were pretty much making up shit. They were just bullshitting a bunch of these studies and these stats, and it was a lot of confirmation bias. And what they were doing is they were accepting, or they were giving a favor to certain studies than other studies. So if a study involved, I don't know, like to give an example, keywords like feminism or transgender, then they would get bonus points, and that study would go above all of the studies. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not academia.
Yeah.
And, these kind of people are doing the research. These kind of people are what we are relying on in terms of looking at reliable stats.
Yeah.
So what they discovered was very important, because it shows you how biased academia can really be. And that's a big problem. It's a huge problem.
Right.
How academia nowadays, it's so left-leaning. Universities nowadays are so, I guess, contaminated with a lot of these leftist views, where even the professors are scared
and
to even act against them.
Exactly. You can't speak up against that, because you're probably going to end up getting fired for being sexist or racist or whatever.
Even worse, like having your credentials ripped from you.
Yeah.
That you can never work in academia again.
Yeah. This kind of goes back to like teaching kids how to question what they're learning, not just to accept what they're learning. So colleges should not teach their kids how to, or what to learn. They should teach them how to learn. They should teach them things like, like this hierarchy of scientific evidence. Remember we went over that?
Yeah.
Where you have certain pieces of scientific evidence that are much more accurate than others. So why is it that, these people are throwing out all these stats and academic things that make it sound so intelligent and smart to be a leftist?
Uh-huh.
That's what appeals to so many people shifting in that direction, because it makes it seem like wow, like this is the way of the future, like this is the modern era, like we're learning
really
everything,
gets to people's minds, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like this is the moral thing, this is the modern thing,
yeah.
This is the way of the future, because we need to be extremely accepting of everything.
Yeah, no generation has ever done this, so we gotta push forward.
Yes, we gotta push forward with this, because the older generations don't understand shit about life.
Right.
And it's like, are you kidding me, dude? The older generations have a lot of wisdom to offer, which people don't really want to rely on for some reason. I don't know why. Again, I think it has to do with those stats that you were saying. Like, they sound so academic. They sound so honest and real and true. And they're
so legitimate.
Yeah.
That's scary. How people nowadays don't even listen to older generations, because they've gone through the history, right?
Yeah.
There's even the idea of how communism worked and socialism in Russia, and there's a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of leftists, but there are some leftists nowadays who want to retry that system. And
it's fucked up, dude.
Jordan Peterson's gonna come in right now. Like, wait a minute. Listen, bucko. And that's that.
Yeah.
So I love that guy. So
yeah, me too.
yeah, it's kind of scary how people, a lot of shit went down in history.
Yeah.
A lot of people died.
Yeah.
And people don't really realize how, or especially on the left, I think they do realize like how painful it was to go through that history, but it's almost as if they want to rewrite history.
Right.
Like even textbooks nowadays, they're rewriting history.
They say history repeats itself if you don't. And you know what's funny? I've noticed that a lot of these people, they don't like studying history. And even when they do like studying history, if they really did, they would probably be not so biased. I can almost guarantee you that they probably would not be as biased.
They're like offended and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, what the heck?
And here's the thing, if they actually studied history, they would understand the foundations on which America was built.
Yeah.
The freedom, the amendments, what America has gone through to get to this stage, and how we were actually the most progressive country in the history of the fucking world, No other country, by the way, we were the first to abolish slavery. Where every other country, had it. We were the first to move in a progressive direction way before any of these other countries did. So I don't know why everyone's like, oh, America's like a fucking racist, this, that. Dude, the world is way worse than America, okay? Yeah. America is not the worst country in the world. In fact, it is the best. Here's one thing. Just flat out. I'm just fucking
You're just selling
raging.
America.
Patriotism. Where's my red, white, and blue? I'm wearing red, so I'm halfway there. But now, I'll tell you this. It's not like we haven't messed up in the past. Obviously we did. But why is it that people want to apply that thinking to modern day, 2019? Like, as if slavery still exists in 2019. It doesn't. Not in America. Not in America. Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia, maybe. But maybe. Not here.
Yeah.
The modern day indenture servitude is these Lyft drivers and these. It's like, what the fuck? No, dude. You have the freedom to quit your job and do something else if you want,
Well, yeah, Lyft is good because you can get on and get off anytime you want, right? Brought to you by Lyft.
Okay, let's take a second to pause.
Use the code below in the description. Get your free ride today.
Imagine.
Well, I think, most people are in a bad situation in general, economically. I mean, even Andrew Yang is pointing this out. I guess the reason why most people are mad and why they're so riled up about anything is because it's such a struggle nowadays. I think most people who are complaining are the ones who are, working long hours, the ones who are, really hoping that they can break down the system because it's unfair. So, they look at, the 1%, they look at people who are richer, who are more successful. I don't think that, leftists love in general. I think they have a lot of hate because, life sucks. They work long hours, they have a lot of issues in general, independently. But the left is this huge bandwagon in general.
Oh,
people
time,
who think life sucks.
Yeah.
And they jump on, they get a huger voice as more people jump on. It's got to be the biggest bandwagon of all time.
Oh, big time, 100%. And people don't see, I think bandwagon also happened with like Trump.
Fascism? That was probably a big bandwagon.
I feel like
I take that back.
I feel like the whole bandwagon thing happened at least with Trump, let's say, on both ends of the spectrum.
Oh yeah.
Like people loved him a lot, and they all got on the Trump train,
Yeah.
Then they have the people who all hate Trump, and it's like, how many people are just indifferent to Trump, or like have like a mixed perspective on him? That's very few.
Yeah.
Very few, if you ask me.
Really?
Oh yeah, I would say so. Some people either just don't care, but that's not. I want to say indifferent. I don't want to say indifferent. Maybe have a mixed view.
Okay.
Like, there's some goods and there's some bads.
That bring it like a logical perspective.
Exactly. Now, not many people have that, I think, and that's a problem.
Those kind of people don't exist anymore in the political spectrum, like at any political show.
Yeah. I'd say that is primarily because of Trump. He's polarized the whole political arena so hard. That's how many people got into politics to begin with.
Oh yeah, in general.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole political turnout nowadays is so huge compared to what it was before 2016.
Yeah.
At 2016, it's got to be a historical year for politics.
100%.
They're going to be talking about it in the future.
Yeah.
How Trump just won. It's like, what?
He was, okay, I just learned something about populist movements. You know what populism is?
A little.
So populism is the idea that we have, anytime a system seems like it's corrupt because of politicians, you have people rising up on the left and the right with their own different leaders and whatever, and everywhere along the spectrum as a populist movement. It's like you won't know it until you see it. There's no like real hard way to describe it. But I can give you examples. Mm-hmm. 2 populist candidates that we had the last election around were Trump and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's like they support the mass population versus the mass population versus the elites in government.
Wow.
And we need to take the elites in the government down.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily correlate to political ideology. So if you talk about, we can have Bernie Sanders, who's hardcore left, and we can have Trump, who is way more on the right, So, but they're both populist because they're both like, Trump says we need to drain the swamp. We need to take the corrupt politicians out of government and bring America back to you, the people, Then Bernie Sanders says the same thing. It's like, okay, these fucking corrupt politicians, all they do is support businesses and everything like that. We need to support the working population, so minimum wage should go up to $15 an hour.
Yeah.
But populist movements, they focus more on the people, and they very much have to make the distinction that they are not a part of the system. The politicians, let's say.
Okay.
They're not a part of that corrupt political, sort of thing, I guess.
They're different.
Yeah, they're different.
I mean, Trump, let's talk about the guy again. He was essential. I think he was necessary.
Me too.
Just in general.
Me too.
It woke people up, and it really got people, politically active, and people are now thinking about, the economy, and they're thinking about, political future.
And I think the conservatives got a massive voice because a lot of the left has capitalized on universities.
Oh, that's true. They're on most platforms nowadays.
And platforms, exactly.
Yeah.
Online platforms.
Yeah.
Like podcasts and whatever else.
Twitter,
right?
Facebook.
Exactly. Yep. But now conservatives have more of a voice on YouTube and podcasts and whatever because of Trump, I think. Because that whole thing gave rise to a movement, on the right end of the spectrum. And you see more of a right-wing perspective that's rising. And that's what Laura Chen was actually saying. Lauren Chen. I keep saying Laura.
Is it Lauren or Laura?
It's Lauren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Lauren Chen.
Sorry.
Sorry if you're listening to this. You're beautiful, by the way.
He loves you. He can't get enough of you. She's married. Right.
Oh, wait, really?
I think she is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I take that back. I hope your husband's not listening to this. I'm just kidding. But anyways, so she was saying how there is a rise to the mass, like not the mass, but like a rise in the right-wing populism is coming. And it's almost already here. You can sort of see it in like people listening to podcasts, people listening to like opening up their minds because they're not brainwashed by, well, the university taught me this, so it must be correct. Now they have different points of thinking, and they're being brought to you by Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, Joe Rogan, whoever.
Yeah, all these different figures who are popping up.
Yeah.
They're really giving a space for conservative people in general. As before, conservatives would argue that they were never heard in the first place.
Yeah.
Because Facebook is a very polarized platform, and Twitter is just a controlling platform.
Right.
They'll ban anyone they want. But it started getting scary.
Yeah.
Right? Because when it comes to leftist ideology, it really was proliferated by these social media platforms. And
it's an echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
Echo chamber.
Your theory of echo chamber.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
If you don't know what that is, look it up, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a very important
coined
concept.
that term. Very important term.
Yeah.
Because most of the people who are being banned on platforms nowadays are right-wing people.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part. Because I think they wanted to ban Joe Rogan.
Wait, really?
In the past, like when he first started out. But he got too popular too fast, I think. Or he had a sudden jump in popularity. But I'm pretty sure that's in the back of, I guess, the platformers, the people who were in charge, their mind. Like they wanted to sign with Jordan Peterson. They tried. I'm pretty sure.
Big Brother tried.
Yeah, but I sound like a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I mean, something strange going on these platforms, and it's kind of weird. Even Google, they had that engineer. I forget his name.
James Damore.
James Damore. How does everyone know his name and I don't? James Damore. He spoke out and spoke the truth.
Yeah.
He gave an honest, data report, and they straight up fired him. There are these companies that they want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear the stats or the real, honest to God, what's going on.
Yeah.
They just want to hear their agenda.
Yeah.
And they want it amplified throughout these social media platforms. God, I sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Seriously.
But to a degree, it's true. And I think they're in too deep, that they can't really change a lot of things right away. It's got to happen over time. So I think conversations like Jack Dorsey and Joe Rogan and Tim Pool, those were important conversations to have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even though Jack Dorsey didn't really say much, he was his lawyer. But just to get together.
Yeah, it was
important.
He was the one who was openly like, "Hey, let's talk about this," and he was open to talking about it, and he wanted to talk about it. So I commend him on that. I feel like it's not even necessarily Jack Dorsey's fault himself, you know?
Yeah, he just started the company. I think most of the people that he knew just like drove it.
Exactly, man. Like
else.
To me, it was this guy is.
He was a programmer, so.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was like one of the main developers.
Okay. I feel like he was one of those guys that's like, look, I'm here to solve the problem. As a CEO, I understand what it's like to have problems and to solve those problems. I'm here to help, and that's all I really got the feeling and the vibe of. I feel like he was genuinely sorry, and he had no idea what was going on. I feel like it's more the people that they hire within the department, you know, that the people who overlook all like the tweets and whatever. Yeah.
So scary.
I feel like those people are the ones that are like, oh, we see a conservative, let's find some bullshit reason to like go in there. You know?
There's Alex Jones.
We'll say that we want fair, you know, we don't want any violence on our
We're a peaceful, diverse community that don't need any violent people on this platform.
Exactly.
Therefore, they're executed. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
How they can just do that.
Yeah.
Because I know Patreon, they had a whole fiasco going on when they banned Sargon of Akkad, a Muslim. I think it's Muslim. Sorry if I misquote you, but he was banned for something he said like a couple months prior, and it's kind of bullshit, right? How this leftist tactic that they do.
Yeah.
It's like the old the old switcheroo, I guess.
The old switcheroo.
Where they get something from your past and they bring it to the present. Like, remember this?
Yeah.
You said this.
Yeah.
They try to get Kevin Hart on it.
Oh, dude, yeah. I remember Kevin Hart went on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah,
actually.
he did, and he talked about it. Yeah. And he also went on a couple interviews, too. Yeah. He's like, I'm over it. I'm like, oh my God, give this guy a break. He's a comedian, so.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a free mouth.
Yeah.
And they really express it.
Yes.
So, you know.
That's how they get laughs, you know. They tend to look at reality as the truth, and then the truth that most people try to avoid, and then they capitalized on that in the most funny of ways, you know. And that's how their comedic punchlines are, you know, not punchlines, but like their comedy is delivered, you know.
Louis C.K. was like that.
Yeah.
He was very much explicit.
Yeah.
So that's how they make a living.
100%. Wow.
How much are we in right now? We are 58 minutes in. How about
wow,
that went by fast.
That went by fast for you? That went by slow for me.
Really?
Yeah, dude. We talked about China. We talked about, wow, we were all over the place, and it's only been 58 minutes.
We talk about a lot in an hour. I'm down to go for another if you want.
Yeah.
But, I guess time update.
Yeah.
Still June 4th.
It is still June 4th, 2019.
Don't be alarmed. We are still in the present day.
Yes. I got introduced to a show recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What was it called? Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah?
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple episodes. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so random. It's so like cheesy, or not cheesy, but like it's so random and it's so like.
Yeah, the comedy there is a little.
It's
mature.
Yes.
At the same time, it's kind of true.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like an older version of. It's like a mature version of Simpsons.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't watch a lot of TV in general, do you?
No.
No?
I used to so much. I used to watch all the sitcoms, all the...
Yeah, you're a big Friends fan.
Yeah, Friends, That 70s Show. I watched almost every sitcom, dude. Almost every sitcom.
Almost.
Everyone Loves Raymond. Everybody Loves Raymond.
You love that show,
I Love Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't know.
You never watched Seinfeld, did you?
I did.
You did?
I did. I saw the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
I wasn't... So that one was my least favorite sitcom, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It just wasn't my kind of humor, you know?
It's a different kind of humor.
Yeah. My least favorite character was Kramer.
Oh, really?
The curly-haired guy?
He's one of the best.
I couldn't get... I don't know.
He was so, like, yeah. So people hated him, people loved him.
Yeah.
That was the relationship.
Yeah. I was in the hate category.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. But yeah. I mean, TV, it was such an American culture thing.
Yeah.
Back when you were growing up in the 90s and 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nowadays they do have good shows. But most of them aren't that good anymore.
Yeah.
They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. Not the sitcoms, at least.
Not the sitcoms. Or anything in general.
Oh, you think so?
They don't make anything like they used to. They don't make washers like they used to. They don't make dryers like they used to.
Right. We got to progress past we got to be progressive here, guys.
We have to hold out that progressive flag and move forward.
Yeah. Everything about the system needs to change.
Yeah. Oh, you've heard of the Catholic Church recently, right?
How what happened?
There's more investigations going on in terms of...
The whole, like, priest thing?
Priest thing, yeah.
Wow, okay.
And there's a different topic. Recently, a priest tweeted... because this month is Pride Month, I believe.
Like gay pride and whatever?
I think so, yeah.
LGBT pride?
I saw a post. And this priest, he tweeted, if you are Catholic, just remember to not attend these gay pride events to our Catholic teachings. And that's all he said. Lo and behold, the leftists responded immediately, and they got him.
Oh shit!
They're giving him all these like shit talk, and he was on the news, and they were just like, oh, look at this, Catholic priest. He's probably like molesting a child right now. It's like, whoa.
Oh dang! And he's a Nazi also.
They went ham on him. They just went ham in Turkey.
Yeah, dude. He might as well just wear a swastika on his forehead, dude. Supporting Hitler.
They just don't like religion. They just don't like Catholics in general.
Yeah.
Mainly because they have a bad history in general.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the oldest institution in the world. So, of course, they're going to crush them. Of course, they're going to have a lot of bad history. I mean, nowadays, people love to amplify the whole stigma of priests, like just molesting children in general.
There were multiple priests who got caught, right?
Multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there was like a pope or two that tried to cover it up. And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people lost faith in the whole hierarchy altogether.
Dude, I told you this, but I went up to Santa Barbara with a couple of friends, and we were joking about like, what if your sister, and they were one of the guys asked me, he was like, dude, what if your sister wanted to convert to Islam? And I was like, okay, like I don't control my sister's life. I feel like having a sense of control over anybody is a false idea. Mm-hmm. You don't really have control over anybody else. And if you try to control other people, like directly control them, it's going to lead to your own unhappiness. So I was like, okay, dude, I don't know. Like I think I would have a talk with her and ask her why. And I would ask her like, do you really know what you're getting yourself into? And then at the end of the day, let her do whatever she wants. But they started cracking a joke about how, they were like, okay, so what about Catholicism, right? And so one of my friends, he always talks about like these things in very abstract terms, and historical terms. So he's like, I would rather take the molesting priests over the terrorist pilot. And I was like, oh my God. And he
Wow.
he goes, he's hardcore. He's hardcore, but he's funny. He's really funny.
Sounds like it.
He loves to watch like Dave Chappelle and like all these, comedians and whatever. But
Damn.
he was like, I'd rather take the child molester than the terrorist pilot. And I was like, oh my God. And one of my friends was like, really? I'd rather take the terrorist pilot because he was like, well, there's only one of those or a couple of those, but there's a lot of these molesting priests. And so I was like, he's like, oh crap, okay. Okay, now we're just like flat out like, attacking these religions. So
that's what they do in general, just attack religion.
I don't think Hinduism has been targeted much.
Oh, really?
Not compared to like Islam or like
Catholicism.
Judaism or Christianity, Those three are intertwined religions, aren't they? Like the Abrahamic faiths?
Yeah, so Judaism, Christianity, and Catholicism, they're mixed together. They still do teachings from the Bible, but they all have their own version of it.
Yeah. The Quran, the Old Testament, the New Testament.
Yeah, so there's different types of scripture out there that they follow, and they each have their own psalms and their own stories, and that's basically what the Bible is.
So what I heard is that Judaism is the first half of the Bible.
It's the first half of the Bible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
And then the Christians, like, they continued writing more, apparently, or something like that.
So the Bible that I was taught, it's split into two sections.
Okay.
There's the Old Testament, and then there's the New Testament.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what my friend told me.
Oh, okay.
My friend is like a hardcore Christian. Like, he's a Protestant. Or no, he's non-denominational, my bad. He's non-denominational.
Most Judaism, they follow the Old Testament in the scripture itself, because there's a lot of it was like the old school teachings of God and what it means to be a Christian, things like that. And then the New Testament really had a lot of Jesus in it. So what I mean by that is it follows the story of Jesus.
Right.
And most, I think most.
Oh no.
No.
The camera.
Wow.
I wish the camera had zoomed in on that. Like, no.
Did it catch it? I don't know.
Where's the Jamie when we need one?
I wasn't finished with that. But
yeah, you were saying.
The Jews don't accept Jesus as their savior.
Right.
They don't accept him as the top-notch guy, whereas Christians and Catholics do.
Right.
And Judaism, they have their own style altogether. They don't believe in Christmas. They have their own holidays, Hanukkah, things like that. And they're a different religion overall because of that main difference. Jesus, they don't believe like he was the Messiah, essentially. Right. And the Messiah is another word for savior.
Right. Do you think that the underlying foundation of what they teach is different? The value systems that they teach to people? Because I think there's a lot of people out there who don't necessarily even believe in the stories of Christianity or Judaism, but they're still religious because they like what the Bible and the Old Testament and New Testament have to say about what your morals in life should be, the value systems of your life should be. And then there's other people who find, I guess, happiness and what else? Success and also faith. Not faith. What's the word?
Faith?
Not faith. The dog's coming this way.
He is?
Yeah.
We got a couple dogs in the area.
And the owner doesn't want to...
Is he next to you?
Take care of him. But anyways. The idea is that... what was I saying? Oh, the underlying systems. And then there's other people who will literally follow the religion because of... it keeps them going, Like, God is on your side. Like, keep going. Your job is to work hard, and the results will come later. God is with you. God has things planned for you. So that keeps them kind of going. Gives them a feeling of hope.
Okay.
And the symbol of hope is God or Jesus or something, right?
It's a higher being.
Some higher being, exactly. Other people, they follow religion, like my dad follows Hinduism, not because of the gods, and he believes in all like the 300,000 deities of Hinduism.
It's a lot of deities.
But he believes in the value systems that they give you, that the things that they teach you in the Bhagavad Gita, which is our religious text. But not just that, but the stories have morals behind them.
Sure.
How do you live your life? That sort of thing. Still applies to today. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. I think it really depends person to person,
I forget what you were trying to make, but
the point, yeah.
The point.
The value systems of Judaism and Christianity. Do you think that there's fundamental difference between the value systems, or is it just the fact that Jesus was in one and
Christianity is very community based.
Okay.
And that's a nice view right there. Let's see. I'm not too sure. I'm not like an expert on Judaism in general. I know some things about Christianity though. It's very community based.
Yeah.
So what it means by the church is, anyone's accepted.
Yeah.
And that there's this idea that we're all God's children. And what that means is we are all born equal, and we all have a similar calling to God. They like to repeat that every now and then. But what that means is we have a duty to act good. We have a duty to act decent to one another, right? So there's this idea to follow in the Christianity where you're not to be selfish. You're not to essentially go against the commandments that the Christianity has given. Don't kill, don't steal, things like that, basic human decency. So I know that much. And then there's like different stories to tell, like how you can relate, things like that. And there's the Gospels, there's like letters here and there to read. The Bible's a really complex book, but comparing it to Judaism, I don't know. I don't know what they really teach them.
Yeah.
Because they're not really into the Jesus at all.
Into the Jesus.
They don't accept the Jesus.
The Jesus.
So I don't know really what they do. There's a couple of stereotypes about the Jews in general. They're rich.
They're rich, powerful positions in America. They're overrepresented in the high ends of the IQ spectrum.
Yeah, very wealthy.
Or IQ distribution, whatever.
Yeah, he's good to Jew me out of my money, things like that.
Yeah, they control the banks. They breed within themselves. I don't know how true all those things are.
I don't know, man. I've never really had a relationship with a Jew.
My dad has. My dad works in the jewelry industry in downtown LA, and there's a lot of Indians there. And there's a lot of Jewish people there in that industry. They're always competing against one another, and they're like, those Jews, they always give each other the best prices and stuff. Like they're always there, like their community is so tightly knit together. You know?
Yeah.
They stick together, which is a power that they have. It's a strength that they have. They don't fight amongst each other too much. Whereas, and this is like law 23, I think it is, of the 48 laws of power, is concentrate your forces, meaning like, keep power restricted within your own little group, I guess. But that's what my dad was saying, and I don't know if that's true or whatnot, but that's smart of them, I would say, to do. He's like, Indians, a lot of us, we fight amongst each other, and I don't know why it is. A lot of the case, it's for stupid religious reasons.
I think because there's so many of you.
And there's so many different types of us. Yeah, 100%.
Like
there's like Punjabis, there's Gujaratis, South Indians, and even amongst those, there's like different types, different little tribes. They're not really united so hardcore. But I think a lot of, what my dad was saying was a lot of the Jews, they united against sort of the world, I guess, because
I think they were persecuted together in general throughout the World War II.
Okay.
So I think that's what really strengthened their community.
Right.
Because they were dying together.
Right. He says, he's talked to a few Jewish people about this, and he says what their response is that, dude, Jewish people have been treated like crap in the past, Yeah. And we're not just talking World War II. That was the most recent one, at least from what I know.
Yeah.
Before that came, what else? What was there? The Egyptians, they enslaved the Jews, right?
Yeah.
Romans.
Yeah.
what else? I think there was a couple other ones. Even in the Spanish had Spanish people even went against the Jews. And it possibly could be because of the whole, like, they're overrepresented in the bank system and they take positions of power.
Yeah.
I think part of Hitler's argument was that, like, okay, these Jewish people, they're holding all these high positions. So
Right.
he shifted the blame on them and said, the reason you're suffering right now, the German people, this whole pan-Germanic, pan-Germanism that was arisen during World War II.
Right.
Let's blame it. Only, by the way, only about 6% of the Mein Kampf is dedicated to the Jews. Chapter 11.
Only 6%?
Only 6%.
Really?
I swear.
Wow.
That's a fact. People don't know that. Most of it is dedicated to Hitler's life and what his vision is.
Oh, okay.
And why, and the problems of Germany and what it's having, right? So it was saying all this stuff that, reparations had to be paid after World War I in the Treaty of Versailles, all that kind of stuff. It fucked over the Germans really hard. Mm-hmm. Their whole currency went into, there's only been a few noted cases of hyperinflation in history.
Okay.
The Zimbabwe, one was in Zimbabwe, another one was in Germany, and the other one is Venezuela right now. And the hyperinflation meaning your currency goes completely valueless,
Yep.
right? And so Germany went through that. The German mark was worth nothing at that point. They were literally burning like currency because they wanted to keep warm in wintertime. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't afford logs or like wood,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, the suffering that the German people had to go through after World War I, Hitler capitalized on that and then shifted the blame on the Jews.
Yeah.
A lot of it, or some of it. So he very much, I don't know how you
What were we talking about?
puppeteered.
We kind of
that
drifted
whole
off.
thing. Yeah. Oh, the Jews. Why they're so...
The Jews in general?
Yeah. They've been messed around with in history. No.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. Do they have a punchable face? I don't get it.
I don't know, dude. Maybe it's the whole like belief that they're God's chosen people. That's what
It's true.
that's what they say. And then on average, again, their IQs are just overwhelmingly represented in the 85%. They're smarter than 85% of the population, according to Jordan Peterson.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, just based on IQ.
Wow.
Now, some people will say, well, IQ is not a good measurement of intelligence. Okay, you have somewhat of a valid point, but
Right. It's got to be measured somehow.
exactly. But like, what is IQ if not something at least?
Right.
There is some correlation with intelligence and IQ, because how is it just so that I don't know. I just don't like. How is it that one group can just by taking this test be categorized into one end of the spectrum?
There's a rule in the military that if you have an IQ of under 70, 83, you know it, that you will not be allowed into the military.
Yeah.
And that's got to be like the biggest insult of all. It's like, you're so stupid.
That's 10% of the population. Dude.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Literally 10% of the population.
That is too many people.
Now, think about that. If they can't be drafted into the military because they can't do anything that's counterproductive,
Right.
how can you expect them to adapt to the increasing technology of the world and the increasing need to have higher skill sets? If you can't even use a computer, you can't even do any of this kind of stuff.
Right.
We have to find a way to shovel money or at least resources down to not the bottom of the IQ hierarchy, or where these people are. So because it's immoral to let them just not have a job or starve or do whatever, right? Like, you need to let them have a chance to live. They're still humans, right? But humans have the right to live. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But now then the conservatives will say, like, okay, well, that's a redistribution of income. That's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's a balance between the two, and you have to find that balance.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely going to be that bell curve always existing. So you're always going to have a few percent, I didn't think it was 10%, but a few percent of people who can't contribute as much as they should. So if you have an IQ of lower 83, what can you really do? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Can you still be productive in any way?
Yeah.
So can you still get a job? Bless you.
Thank you.
Can you maintain a household? Can you provide for a family? Can you do these basic things?
Yeah.
And that's really the question overall. But 10% of the population, damn.
Yeah.
How much of it is in America? Do you know?
I think it is 10% of America.
Oh, really?
I'm saying that, yeah. I mean, I think if you take on the, 330 million people is a huge sample size, right?
Yeah.
So if you just take from the general population, I think you can find that IQ distribution applies to the population of America, it applies to the population of India separately.
Okay.
So I think 10% of India's population, let's say, maybe.
That's still a lot of people.
But that's still a lot of people, and you can't even say that, because if IQ is more distributed on one end of the spectrum based on race or based on religion or whatever it is, then even in different areas of the world, you'll find different IQ distributions.
Right. Well, I'm just going to fix this real quick because it kind of moved.
Okay.
Okay, so, what was I going to say? What do you do with those people?
Yeah, that's a question. I have no idea.
That's a real question, yeah.
You could train them to be more creative in their thought process and then like help them transition into creative endeavors.
Well, you got to put them to work, because I would argue that humans need work overall.
Yeah.
That
gives you meaning.
They need it, yeah. They need that sense of meaning. The work doesn't need the human needs the work.
Right. So the question then becomes,
what can they do?
The question is, okay, remember how Andrew Yang was saying 83% of jobs that pay under $20 an hour will be gone by 2030?
That's what he says. It's kind of scary.
Kind of scary, right?
What are they going to do?
Those low-skill jobs are all going to go away because of AI. AI is catching up and whatever, and it can do things that humans cannot. And more efficiently, too. So how do you compete against that, and how do you...
You have to go to a different field. You have to get out of that...
I guess...
That crumbling market, or that crumbling field for opportunity.
Or you can... or you can have... So basically all that productivity will go towards robots. That'll open up space for low-skill workers to move to a different area. So we have to find either a new field to pay them to do stuff, like maybe be an assistant to a doctor. I mean, I guess they have nurses already, but assistants to lawyers or I don't know, economists. But I feel like that's already being done.
No, I'm not too sure. I think in America, it would be best to be unemployed here than in any other country.
Yeah, absolutely. At least this country will probably end up providing for you if you're
at least
unemployed.
somewhat. You know what? Yeah. So there's that going for them.
Yeah.
But it won't last for long, right? Because Andrew Yang wants to invoke this universal basic income. Everybody gets $1,000 each month if you are over 18 and you're a U.S. citizen. And I think he's trying to incentivize being an American, right? So if you are an American citizen, you get all these benefits.
Right.
And for those individuals who need that money, they're going to spend it in responsible ways. For most people, though, and this is my argument, most people are not going to spend it responsibly because it's just free money, right? So most people are going to think, well, this is money I can spend on either my addiction or other pleasures,
alcohol or whatever,
other things that will, take the edge off, I guess. So there's definitely going to be a huge misuse of that money. Is that going to increase, or is that going to improve the economy overall? I'm not too sure. I'm not an expert.
So that's what Jordan Peterson was saying, is that the main problem is not that it's that people are beasts of burden. That's what he says.
Sure.
We need to find meaning in life, and that's what's going to really give us our happiness back and keep us sustained. Not happiness necessarily, but keep us sustained in life, right? And be able to hold on while we go through the suffering of life, so to speak. But what Yang's argument was that if you give people $1,000 a month, whatever they spend it on, they're still spending economically, and that's still driving the economic engine.
It's still turning the wheels, yeah.
It's still turning the wheels, right? So the consumer end will be satisfied a lot more now, because it's like you have $1,000 a month. These people, they can spend it on alcohol, let's say, And that way we'll collect more tax too, because we'll just tax alcohol more, you know, or cigarettes or whatever. So to understand, I guess, the inner workings, so really what it comes down to is economics can work in both ways, but to find the balance, it does, okay. You have the consumer side and the producer side, right? Those are the two ends of the spectrum in economics you have to consider. Democrats usually favor the consumer side. Republicans usually favor the producer side, right?
Cool.
Capitalism and whatever. The question is, how do you find the proper balance?
Yeah. Who gets the most benefits while the other benefits as well? Things like that.
That's the question.
Right. There can't be an imbalance of one side making more than the other. So there's this idea that the goods and services are, I guess, favorable on the consumer side. And at the same time, the payment is also providing for the producer.
Yeah.
Making everyone happy. So it's definitely going to turn the wheels continuously as universal basic income comes into effect.
Yeah.
But let's take it down a notch.
Sure.
If we were to get $1,000 a month, what would we spend it on? Like
I thought about that actually. I was like, that would be really nice. I would spend it on equipment for my YouTube channel.
Sure.
Like all the because there's like expensive equipment like sliders and like equipment where you can like keep a camera still and whatnot and keep moving the camera around. It's called a crane and all this kind of stuff. That's what I would spend it on.
Right.
Which again would drive business for them. And if not that, then I would just save it up, and I would save up that money. After about a year, I would end up trying to use that money for a down payment on a house, which would then, I mean, not in a year actually, when the economy crashes and the real estate prices come down.
Okay.
That's when I would jump into the real estate market, and then I would ride the economic wave up in coming years.
Would the universal basic income still be in effect when the economy crashes?
That's a good question. I think it should be, because I think it's supposed to be an ongoing thing.
Sure.
And the source that he says he was going to get the UBI from was
taxes.
Well, I don't think he was going to tax just the general population. I think it was taxing Amazon, a lot of it from Amazon.
Oh, big companies like that.
Yeah. How?
Where's that money coming from?
Where is the money coming from exactly? I think.
Yeah, Andrew Yang. Where's that money coming from?
A lot of it was coming from Amazon, from what I know.
Okay.
And he says there is a way to pay for it, and it's like not anything
drastic to our economy.
Yes, it's not anything that's like your taxes are not going to go up like insanely, you know. And it's a better way because he's also going to get rid of all these other programs which try to provide you the service through the government.
Like welfare?
Yeah, exactly. So his point is, and it's a really good point here to make, government should not necessarily provide you all this stuff like healthcare and this and that and education and whatever. The free market should provide you that stuff.
Right.
But the government's job partially is to redistribute this income to keep the system stable, you know?
Sure.
As inequality grows over time, hierarchy gets unstable after a certain point. Okay. So your job is to, UBI, but what happens then? The money. You spend it on certain things, and as you spend it on other things, the economic engine goes, but you choose what to spend that money on. The government doesn't choose. Because if you just pay taxes to the government chooses how to use that money to provide healthcare services, to provide
they're choosing
Social Security. They're choosing you for you, and that's not a good thing, because then you're ceding more power to the government, and it's inefficient because government does not efficiently allocate resources.
Right.
That's the free market's job, you know. So
that's a good point right there.
Yeah. So if government was just to say, hey, let's tax people, let's get them, and then let's give the money back to everyone else, they have no choice but to spend that money somewhere. They're probably going to spend it, and that's going to help the free market grow. So it's a play on capitalism too, you know. The problem people have is like the state taking too much control.
Sure. And
providing all of these services and commanding you to do things and taking away your freedoms.
Yeah.
This would be this would be, I don't want to say giving you more freedom, but this would actually, I would even argue that it would be giving you more freedom, especially if you were somewhere near the bottom half of the hierarchy. It would give you a lot more freedom, because now if you have $1,000 coming in per month, that's going to give you infinite opportunity to do things with that money.
Sure.
You can do creative things. You can start a business. That's $1,000 a month is no joke. That's a lot of money, right? That is a good amount of money, especially like for people who are being supported by their parents, let's say, and they're not really working, or they're trying to start a business, right? Or they're trying to find some other way, creative endeavor to make money.
Yeah.
But they're using their parents' income in the meantime, like I am.
Yeah.
$1,000 a month is going to be a lot of money. And I could use that money to, benefit my business and whatever it is, or the creative endeavor. So I think it comes down to how you choose to spend the money, but obviously given the variations in human choices and behaviors, we're not going to get the same outcomes. People are going to spend money on all different things.
My worry is it's going to change the market. So will companies demand more? Will they increase prices?
Yes, that is a possibility.
Yeah, because they're like, well, everyone's getting more money. We'll just increase our prices.
That is 100% a good point.
Well, I think Andrew Yang's reasoning, or his argument for that was, if they were to increase prices, then they would just go to another provider. So it's a free market, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, well, if Geico increases their price for car insurance, well, you're going to go to, I don't know, farmers, or some other insurance company. It's like, well, okay, screw you.
Yeah.
I'm going with them.
Yeah.
So it does give more competition,
or
it does like spice up the competition in that field.
Yeah.
In that respect. But yeah, that would be interesting. Are you down for the universal basic income if it were to actually happen?
Wow.
It could be a possibility within the next decade or so.
If it is, then I would be down for it. Depends on but it depends on how you get that money.
Yeah.
And really, if the businesses are really going to, like, let's say, team up against one another, that's the job of the government, to make sure that there is room for a free market, to take down all to make sure your antitrust department or whatever,
sure.
The Sherman Antitrust Act is really in place. You can't have companies that are going to team up together in an oligopoly or whatever and start to raise prices on everyone because you're getting $1,000 a month, right? So your job would be, let's make sure that the companies still compete against one another and still give everyone $1,000 a month.
Sure.
And let's get that money from a little bit of Amazon's profits, at least a little bit, Not a lot, but Amazon has a lot of money, dude. I don't know about.
I don't think people understand how much money they have.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Is it more than Bill Gates?
Yeah.
It's more than
Jeff
Bill
Bezos
Gates.
definitely has more than Bill Gates.
Definitely.
I don't know after his divorce how much he might have or not. Dude, that
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Explain to me how, after Jeff Bezos gets divorced, half of his wealth goes to his wife.
Damn, she played it well.
Dude, how? Like, it really mind boggles me. That doesn't make any sense. How, I don't give a fuck what the law says, but that's just not logical. The law is supposed to be logical, And there are certain outlier cases in which you can break the law, or not break the law, but like go around the law for this case. Mm-hmm. You can't just give his wife $88 billion or whatever, $88 billion, $84 billion.
That's a lot of money.
When she didn't build the company. Like, she just got rich overnight like that. It just doesn't make sense.
So she won, actually, right?
I don't know if she won. I don't know. Wait, what do you mean, like the lawsuit or whatever?
Yeah, did she win the lawsuit?
I don't know, to be honest. But that's just wrong, in my opinion, dude. Unless she contributed to the government. To the government. Unless she contributed to the company.
Who knows?
To the building of the company.
Right.
If she did, she gets a share of it, right? Depends on how much work she put in compared to Bezos.
That's complicated.
But Bezos put in... Bezos must have put in the primary amount of work, let's be honest.
Marriage is a scam.
Yeah, marriage, that is a scam, dude. That's why he should have gotten a prenup or something if he was building a company like that. Damn.
Yeah, why didn't he?
I don't know, dude.
What's wrong with this guy?
I guess, some people are iffy about the whole prenup thing because it's like are you trying to predict that this thing is not going to work out and whatever? I would say, hell yeah, I'm sorry, man, but if I'm trying to build something like Amazon, even if it's a small bookstore, I don't know what direction that thing is going in, and if things don't work out, I'm sorry, but I'm someone who plans for the future. So, and I would say it in the nicest way. I'm not gonna be a ruthless bastard about it. I'm gonna
say that exact same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say look, I love you and all, but I have to think about my future and your future as well. Because if you do better than me, then what?
Boom, divorce.
On the spot. Am I taking half of your wealth?
You're dumb.
Absolutely not.
You're sexist. How dare you?
I know, right?
It's
There's nothing against women, dude. Nothing against women. I'm just saying, like,
it's so strange how marriage is in America, because it's like, well, we love each other. Let's get the government involved.
Yeah, I know.
And go forward with this.
Yeah.
Why do people really get married? Taxes?
I don't know. I really don't know. Marriage, I think it's well. If I was to give you the most probable answer, I think it's obviously because people like they want to bond their love together.
Okay,
like,
it's like a big show.
It's
thing.
like it's like a big show, and it's like, hey, look, like some people want to have kids after marriage, so like after they get married, that's when it's like okay to have kids.
Sure, yeah. The Catholic Church teaches that.
Right. So you want to basically have kids.
I think it's too much hassle for the government to get involved. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But people have been doing it for the last couple decades.
Yeah.
It's how it be. It's how they do.
Yeah.
So we are now at 1 hour and 30, I think.
Yeah.
1 hour 34. How long was our last one?
1 hour and 45.
1 hour and 45?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Because it gets kind of, I guess, achy to stand in the same position.
Yeah.
I want to stretch for a bit. I'm going to throw this away. Let me stop this right now.
Okay.
Okay. Ready, set, jump. We're back. Let's see. We're back home.
Yeah.
Headquarters.
Yeah.
So what's up?
We were just talking about the relationship between The Lion King and Hierarchy.
Yes. This guy loves The Lion King.
I love
just
it.
in general.
I love
It was your childhood, just movie growing up.
Yeah.
Why do you like it so much?
I don't know, dude. It's just the one movie that I just had to keep watching over and over. I didn't have too many movies to grow up with to begin with.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. It's just something about the movie. I don't know, dude. It's like I don't know. The characters, the storyline, everything.
Right, yeah, because it's a magical touch on, I guess, the dominance of just that whole feel.
Very, very possible.
The lion being a lion.
The lion being the lion. And a lion forgetting that he's a lion.
Anything with a lion you like. You love the Lion King?
Lions are my favorite animal, for sure.
You love the Lannisters?
I love the Lannisters. Gotta love the Lannisters. The manipulative.
Yeah, you're just a lion guy. Something about it. He's trying to grow a mane.
Yeah, this is my mane right here.
But yeah.
Yes.
That's a good movie. And they're coming out with a live action.
Yes, coming out with the live action. And we were when I was watching the trailer, I noticed that the movie iteration has sort of a more deeper philosophical take on it, at least from what I noticed. Or maybe I'm just more grown up so I can understand it more.
You're more grown up.
So when he was saying things like, life's not fair, those are lines directly from the original movie. But then they go on to say something like, there are a few who are born to feast, whereas the rest of us beg for scraps. Mm-hmm. Right? Very much like the system is flawed.
Yeah.
And that's what the villain was saying essentially. Now, I don't know. It's so obvious when I've heard Jordan Peterson talk about hierarchies and everything. It all of a sudden becomes so obvious. You can see like the whole thing in play.
All the analysis came together, yeah.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. I don't know, we were just talking about that and it was just very apparent after some time, Mm-hmm. That's what it is. But see, the thing about The Lion King is like the analysis that we watched, it was basically like, okay, well, one person's born for it, like it doesn't matter. There has to be social or not social mobility, but upward mobility, for I guess equality of opportunity. That one wasn't even emphasizing equality of opportunity. The Lion King is just you're born. There's a social order. You don't fuck with it. Otherwise, everything becomes corrupt.
It was a more primitive time back then.
Yeah,
and that's the time stamp.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe it's because it was based on Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Right.
And that was written in when the 1400s, 1500s.
Pretty old.
Shakespeare around. The 1500s.
Was it 14s?
I think it was the 14th.
We don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, most of these stories are very old literature.
Yeah.
And they're classic archetypes, and they bring in a lot of old ideas, and it gets people hooked, right? It's the classic stories.
Yes.
And The Lion King was a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I think Disney overall, they really capitalized on the whole bringing the old literature to life and putting that magical touch on these types of stories. So what they're doing now is they're remaking a lot of their classic movies. So they've remade Dumbo, Aladdin. Now they're going to do Lion King. They're going to do them all. They're doing Mulan, I think.
They're doing Mulan. I found a thing with showing the cast.
Yeah.
And they picked a very, very accurate cast. Looking, look-wise, according to the original characters.
Diverse-wise.
Yeah. They definitely... the same thing goes for The Lion King. You know, the lions look very alike. Obviously, that's very...
They chose real lions.
Computer-generated, you know. They chose the best lions for the savannah, you know.
The best. They only want the best.
The best warthogs and the meerkats.
Yeah, that's the Disney for you. But yeah, I mean, they're going to continue to do that, and people are going to continue to watch.
Right.
Because Disney is really a part of everyone's childhood.
Yes.
And you can't deny that. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
So they're doing their thing.
Yes.
And you're definitely going to go see it, so.
Oh, 100%.
Coming soon to theaters, and I forget what date.
Free advertising for The Lion King.
Yeah, we're doing a bunch of free sponsorship in this kind of episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are not paid in any way.
Yes, we're not.
Yeah. Who knows when that will be? So we left off. Where did we leave off?
I think we were talking about the Jewish people, the religious differences between Christianity and Judaism.
Those Jews, yeah. I don't know much about them.
Yeah.
Because it's they had such a close-knit community.
Yeah.
That's all I know about them. And what they did throughout history was they stuck together.
Yes.
I think even during like the Roman times, they were the only ones together. Like they were the first to like, according to the Bible,
right?
They were the first set of prophets to go against Jesus.
Okay.
So you had these like Jewish officials.
Right.
They would question Jesus
in
the stories, and they're like, "Are you really the Messiah? Like, who are you to tell us like about a religion? What's wrong with us?" And Jesus is like, "Dude, I'm the Son of God." And things like that.
Dude, I'm the Son of God.
There was more to it, but that was the basic gist.
Right.
And yeah, I think Judaism, it's a very traditional family, I guess, timeline. Like it's passed on through generations and generations. You don't hear a lot of people converting to Judaism, like from a different religion.
Yeah.
That's not a common thing.
Yeah. I feel like when they're born into that religion, it's very much they believe in it very hard, you know, and they believe that the values
hardcore.
that they're given, are good values to live by.
Yeah. Well, a lot of religious people in general go hardcore.
Yeah.
Because you can, in general.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you think you'll ever go hardcore into a religion?
Probably not.
Maybe something like really bad will happen to you and you go hardcore?
No, I don't think so. I really, really, really doubt it.
Okay.
I think I have a certain set of beliefs in which I operate when it comes to the world, and I'm still always refining those, but I think the majority, the good chunk of it, like 80% of it, is already down and set in stone.
Okay.
Like things that will happen to me left and right, I think I already know what to do. It'll just be difficult to do, you know? But I think the code at which I live my life is already somewhat there, and I've chosen that consciously. But I'm not saying that those are my ideas to begin with. They were not. But you know, certain coaches, certain intelligent people who give out these ideas about how should you live your life. What are the value systems that you should have? You know, how should you operate in life? What should your mental model of the world be? Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of people get that from religion, right? The mythologies and like things like that.
Yeah, it's like their role model. So they get a lot of their solid ideas from religion itself.
Yes.
In your case, in your upbringing, you went to the internet.
Yeah.
Ideally, to get a lot of these strong principles.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
well, I guess the first set of principles that I had were from my dad.
Sure.
And then after that, to refine them, to grow more into them, to really, I guess, find out who I was and what really clicked well with me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I had to go online, and that's where, you know, all these people were, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how things turned out. Pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah. Things turned out fantastic.
Yeah. UCLA graduate. You're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
No debt.
No debt.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think a lot of college students would be jealous of you right now.
Yeah.
Because you have this free time and you're doing your own thing and you're trying to make your passion come true. Like you're doing this YouTube thing and you're being very creative about it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So
I owe a lot of that freedom to my parents, by the way.
that is true. Yeah. Nowadays, it's tough for college students.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
A lot of them are underemployed, and a lot of them are just, they feel as if they could be doing more. You know what I mean? And I think you felt like that at one time before you met Jason Capital. Mm-hmm. So once you hit Jason Capital and you met him, mm-hmm. I think both figuratively and virtually, you felt better.
A lot better.
Because, there was a role model to follow.
Right.
And to get mentorship from.
Right.
So, yeah. Many people don't have that.
Can we do a quick cut?
Jump cut, right now.
Yeah, jump cut.
Room change again.
Yeah.
So 3 locations for this episode.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Lucky them. They get to see all the different locations.
I'm always carrying this. You want to know why?
Why?
I love water.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you like water?
I'm not really a fan.
He's not a fan.
Yeah. I mean, water, it's like, I always have to drink it like 8 freaking times a day at least.
There's a formula for how much water you should drink per day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You take your body weight?
It's based on body weight.
Okay.
Yeah. So you take your body weight, you divide it by 10, and then that's how many ounces of water you should... No, sorry. You take your body weight divided by 2.
Okay.
That's how much ounces of water you should drink every day.
Okay, and how many ounces are in a cup? 8, right? 8 fluid ounces, yeah.
Right, yeah. So for a water bottle cup, or for a water bottle,
let me do the math
it's
real
like
quick.
the math. It's 16 ounces per water bottle, right?
Yeah. So I weigh 163.
Sure.
Divide that by 2.
You weigh 163?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I'm like 30 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah. Well, because I've been dropping weight. I used to weigh, my highest I used to weigh was 172.
Okay.
This is like 2.5, 3 months ago.
Wow.
And then I've been slowly dropping.
Yeah.
Weight. Now I'm gonna get back on the bulk, so I gotta like gain weight soon.
I'm like 212, 215.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't look like it either.
Yeah.
So yeah. A lot of muscle, I guess.
10.18 pounds. Or pounds.
No, so take your body weight and divide it by 2. That's how many ounces of water you should drink every day.
Right, and there's 8 ounces per cup of water.
Okay.
So I have to drink 10 cups of water a day.
10 cups of water. That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water, dude.
That's too much water.
That is a lot of water.
That's the formula, apparently.
A lot of water.
Yeah, I mean, people don't drink a lot of water nowadays.
I drink, how many cups? I'd probably get in, I don't actually, count. But you know what's funny? There have been studies where if you drink more water, up to a certain point, obviously you don't get water poisoning.
Right.
Like it helps with proper fat loss, And it helps with proper, obviously, functioning of the body. Like most of the body's made up of water, right?
Yeah.
Muscles, your brain, everything like that. So, yeah.
I think it's a weird point that we're at right now because soda is cheaper than water.
What?
Generally, yeah. It's cheaper to make a can of soda than it is to make a bottle of water. It's like
you hear this,
a couple of cents.
What kind of madness is this?
To make like a soda in general?
This is how you know the society is headed towards someplace bad.
Yeah, it is. It needs to be demolished and completely redone.
Yeah.
According to the
leftist. The system is corrupt.
According to the leftist views. I mean, soda's good.
Yes.
It does sell, but it's dirt cheap to make. That's how...
I saw this one Facebook video of this guy deconstructing soda. And he basically took a can of Coca-Cola to show the real ingredients behind it. He cooked the soda, like he put Coca-Cola on a pan, heated the pan up, and like caused it to boil or something like that. And he did all these different processes to it, and it basically turned into some like really sticky goo.
Sure.
Yeah, and he was like, "This is the reality of what's in your drinks."
It's like pure acid, isn't it?
It's pure.
Because it can corrode steel. I know that much.
Oh, really? Soda.
Yeah, it can.
Dude, that's not good.
That's not good.
That's the pH level must be really.
It's enough to do some damage to metal.
Wow.
I think it can like completely tear through nickel and some other metals, but it can get through steel if you give it enough time.
So I've heard that could be a total myth. I don't know what this is based on, because my mom used to tell me this to try to get me to stop drinking soda.
Okay.
She's like, if you drink too much Coke, there's like gonna be holes in your stomach, right?
Holes in your stomach.
I was like,
that's one way of stop drinking soda. Because
don't tell me that.
Well, it's addictive at some point, right? So there's a point where you have to keep drinking it.
Yeah.
And it's super, super. It has a lot of sugar, first of all, and it depends what kind of soda you drink. But most people like Coke, right?
Yeah.
Because Coke has like all these different flavors, and there's different kinds of Coke. There's like Diet Coke, Coke Zero, and there's different flavors of Coke in general. So they really get you hooked, and then they give you all these other options, right? Yeah. Or you're on a diet. Here's some Diet Coke, right? And it's like you're never gonna get off.
You're not
Coke.
getting off Coke, man,
at all. That's their whole marketing scheme.
You don't like the flavor? Here we got orange flavor.
Here's vanilla
Try
flavor.
This one.
Yeah, we have all these different types of flavors. That's what they say in the market.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Coke, did you know that they found small dosages of cocaine in shrimp?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When was this?
This was a while ago. I'll even pull up the study. Like I just pulled it up the other day too. Just type in shrimp cocaine. Sounds very stupid,
like
right?
you do.
But so here's what it is. Scientists find traces of cocaine, pesticides detected in UK shrimp.
Oh, UK.
Small amounts of cocaine. It's not American, so we don't have to worry about it. But this is on NPR.org. Small amounts of cocaine, pesticides, and other contaminants have been found detected in UK freshwater shrimp. We found that the most frequently detected compounds were illicit drugs, including cocaine and ketamine.
Ketamine?
Ketamine. How do you say that?
I think it's poisonous, isn't it?
I think so. And a banned pesticide, Fenron.
Okay.
Said King's College London environmental toxicologist Thomas Miller. So he goes on to just say they found little traces and illicit drugs, pharmaceuticals, and pesticides in drinking water all around the world, similar to that.
Wow.
So I think they've filed lawsuits against these companies.
Shrimp companies?
Some of these shrimp companies.
Why shrimp? That's my question.
Maybe they want to get them hooked onto the shrimp and nobody would think to look there.
Is that the reason why it's so sneaky?
Here's the thing. and remember, like the formula for Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it to get people addicted to it.
I think it had like small traces of cocaine in it back in like the 30s,
right,
40s.
Right. I heard it was like in the 1800s, like late 1800s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I might be wrong.
And I'm assuming that's why the shrimp company. Because think about it, okay? If the math calculations add up, imagine the small amounts of cocaine don't really, it costs a good amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. To spread in your shrimp. But imagine if the population eats that shrimp and then they get addicted to the shrimp and they come back for more and more and more shrimp.
But what if there's no more cocaine in their shrimp? Wouldn't they notice?
They might notice, but I mean, it depends on if the taste changes. I don't know if cocaine tastes like anything.
But don't you have to keep supplying cocaine into the shrimp? So you have to keep buying more cocaine.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So they depend on the supply of cocaine, I'm assuming. And if that goes down, then who knows?
Cocaine's not cheap. Well, not that I would know.
It's not. But I'm assuming if they did this on purpose, and if they wanted to really make a profit out of it, they would have to do calculations in a way where it's like the amount of people that will get addicted to shrimp and the people that will come in for more shrimp will bring us more profit than the cost of buying all that cocaine.
Right.
You know? So it adds up. I'm assuming if they did this on purpose. Who knows?
That's sneaky. That really is. You know what I think? I think In-N-Out's doing something to their food that's making it so tasty.
Oh my God. If you guys don't know what In-N-Out is, it's only in California, Nevada,
It's
Arizona?
mainly in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's hardly any in the Midwest. I don't think there's any in the East Coast.
Yeah, I think Colorado just opened its first one.
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty good. But
yeah.
it is tasty food. It's a good burger.
Private organization.
Private organization, family owned.
Yeah.
And their burgers are so good.
Yeah.
And you've had them before. Not the burgers, but just the food in general. The French fries are good. Good burgers. Small menu, but very, very much on demand. They're highly demanded. So, I don't know. It's just, maybe they're doing something to the patties. Maybe they're doing something to the quarter pounders or the fries and making it so tasty.
Very possible. Very possible.
I'm not suggesting anything. It's just,
Yeah.
you know.
Let's go sue In-N-Out.
Don't sue us.
I think we're just trying to get to the point of like why In-N-Out tastes so good.
It does taste good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But why? It can't be the actual food.
It can't be that good. Nothing can be that good. But yeah. You know how much an In-N-Out manager makes?
How much?
$120K per year. A year.
What?
That's the max they can make.
Dude, that's a successful business.
It's 100 to 120K.
That's a very successful business. Then.
That's insane.
And so it's just a normal manager position.
It's not really normal. They're managing it
Well,
In-N-Out.
yeah, I guess.
They're like one of the busiest fast food.
Yeah,
Is it fast food? I don't know if it's fast food or not. But
yeah.
What would you define as fast food restaurants?
Yeah, In-N-Out for sure would be under fast food, I would think.
Because my definition is if they have a drive-through, it's fast food.
Okay. Well, In-N-Out does have a drive-through.
Fast food, you know.
Right. Oh, I see.
People like to have their own definitions of fast food. That's what I'm saying.
Right. For me, if it's a very quick, okay. Here's the definition for me. If a server doesn't have to come and serve you,
okay, that's
typically fast food. And also, I would also add in prices.
Okay.
If the prices are and atmosphere.
If it's very affordable, right?
Yeah, if it's very affordable, right? Like Mayan Tacos, we go there. The people come serve the food, but that doesn't make it a restaurant necessarily, right? Because the food is pretty cheap.
It is kind of cheap.
So I would say it's a combination of prices and whether the employees serve you or not.
Okay. So service and prices,
yeah. Normally at a restaurant I would tip.
Right.
And at a fast food place I wouldn't tip.
We wouldn't tip, no. Yeah, tipping's a big issue nowadays. Because like, should you tip, should you not tip? I think in the UK, you don't tip at all.
Oh.
It's accounted for in the pricing.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
How much do they account for in the pricing?
It's like couple percent more, maybe. I'm not sure.
But see, that gets rid of all the incentives for a server to serve you well.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's the whole purpose behind a tip.
They wouldn't really put that much care into their job.
Yeah.
As in here, they might.
Yes,
because they want more tip.
Exactly. Which, by the way, regarding tips, I definitely tip. Usually I end up tipping a lot more than I normally would if the server's good.
Right.
If the server's even a little bad, I'm like, sorry, buddy, no tip for you.
Even
like I'm that fucking ruthless about it.
Oh yeah.
Like I know people are gonna be like, you can't, you're not gonna tip.
You don't know what it's like.
You evil bastard. These guys are the modern day slaves.
Right.
I'm like, okay, dude. I'm trying to come to a restaurant not just for the food, but it's for the experience as well, a little bit, you know?
Most of the time it is. It's an outing, right?
With friends. It's an outing, 100%. And so if the server, for no good reason, right? I can understand if there's a reason behind it. Yeah. And I get that maybe they're going through something, you know, maybe they have something bad going on, so I should be understanding.
Right.
But that should not transfer over to your service of your your people, you know, whatever.
Right, the customers, yeah.
Yeah, your customers. I get it. Maybe you're going through a breakup. Maybe you're going through this or that. I get it. Life is harsh.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about the other end of the people that are trying to go out for this outing and they want a good time out, right? And the tip is there to incentivize you to provide a good experience as well, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's what it is. And if usually, again, like over the top, if they're doing well, because it's like encouraging good behavior,
right,
punishing bad behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to make it sound like I'm training a dog or something. I'm trying not to make it sound like that, but I'm just saying like the reality, right?
He thinks they're dogs.
God, this is what a leftist would jump to.
How dare you? Well, I don't know, because tipping, it's been a traditional thing in America, I think, just in general. Because like you would tip your gas person when they would put the gas in for you back in the day.
Yeah.
There was a lot of tipping going on.
Yeah.
So more and more, that whole idea of tipping is going away because we have automation kicking in and everything.
Right.
And,
I mean, you're not going to tip a machine, you know?
No, you're not. So it's kind of strange nowadays to tip. Like the only place where tipping is actually normal is restaurants.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
100%.
And even most people I would say are kind of hesitant on like tipping.
Yeah.
Because, then they get really judgmental and people have like their own perspectives and their own judgments. Was he good? I don't know. I thought he was good, but no, he was terrible.
Yeah.
So
I have a friend who doesn't tip at all.
At all. Like no matter the circumstances.
He's super cheap, but he's very much like anti-tipping.
Anti-tipping?
Which, okay, in the state of California, I can understand because it is mandated by law that you get paid minimum wage according to California standards, no matter where you are, where you're working, right?
Yeah.
But if if you're out there in like Louisiana or Kentucky or something like that,
right.
I'm not saying specific states. I don't know if it's true in Louisiana or Kentucky, but I'm saying in general, there are other states where you are not mandated by law if you are serving to get paid minimum wage.
Sure.
So you can pay, that's the one job or one of the few jobs that you can pay under the minimum wage because they know that these people are going to get tipped. So that it should bring it back up, or it should even pay you even more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So really in those states, I think it is mandatory to tip. Not mandatory, but I would say like, dude, you need a tip.
It's encouraged.
Yeah, it's encouraged. And
really
even
is.
if the service was bad, like I would tip a certain minimum amount because these people are not being paid minimum wage.
That is true.
Right?
It's different from state to state.
Right.
Yeah. It sucks to be a waiter in like Louisiana than it is in California.
Right.
Different dynamic overall.
Yeah.
And the economy is much better in California. So, there's better chances.
Right.
But being a waiter, that's a rough job. It really is. You're literally dealing with people all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
And that's terrible. Because you're dealing with them when they're hungry and they're cranky, and the small little thing will just tip them off and make them angry.
Yeah.
You got to deal with that every day. Customer service jobs are just, they're not fun.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Right.
So, yeah, power to them.
Power to them.
Good job. But, yeah, people do it, and, it's just a way of getting by. Because no one really aspires to be a waiter.
Yeah.
Nowadays. It's kind of like
sorry
I
to the
ended
waiters
up
out there. Pursue your dreams, though. It's temporary situations are completely fine. Like, my mom used to work at KFC and she hated it because she was vegetarian. And literally, you're at KFC, the worst smelling place in the world.
It does smell bad in there. I have no idea why. Every time I walk in, I'm like, why does it smell so bad?
So
it's disgusting.
My mom was like, I had to work at KFC. I'm vegetarian and I had to serve chicken to these people. She's never seen meat in her life. Like, it was like that much because she grew up in India, in that part of the country where like there's practically no meat.
Right.
Or at least you don't see the meat very often. So it's, I don't know. She's very high in trait disgust. She's very disgusted by that sort of
I think a lot of people are disgusted by fast food in general. When you like unreveal the curtain behind what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pesticides in McDonald's and there's a bunch of, I know Chipotle had an issue as well. They had E. coli disease and everything.
Yeah.
It happened a couple times actually. And
twice.
Twice.
Once I think it was mainly the chicken,
wow.
and just generally speaking, the rest of their products.
Yeah.
But the second time around, it was only for the lettuce.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be like organic. Type of produce.
Yeah.
And that's very scary.
Yeah.
They can't manage their supply.
Yeah. Can't manage their supply.
Yeah. Oh, my sister. We had Panera Bread the other day, and she's pregnant. She vomited from Panera Bread.
Wow.
And we think it was her body.
Okay.
That didn't
not the food.
Not the food.
Yeah.
But just that one experience alone will completely cut off your access or your choice of that particular food chain. So we're not going to buy Panera Bread for a while.
Oh yeah, because I think it acts as a psychological trigger for you, doesn't it? It's kind of like you with the sushi.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I don't think I've ever told that story.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, back, it was early summer. I forgot the year. I think it was 2017, 16.
Yeah.
My friend and I, we went to a sushi place in downtown LA. And it wasn't like Little Tokyo. It was like a ways off towards Chinatown. So it was one of those like side restaurants next to a donut shop. And my friend told me it was a good place to go to. So we had crunchy roll, and we had this California roll special, which came with like shrimp, like salad, and a couple of California rolls. Just basic sushi, right? Nothing special. Yeah. So we had the same dish, and we had like a communal plate of crunchy rolls.
Yeah.
And after that day, I was in the hospital for 2 days.
Oh God.
Because I was just, going to the restroom like every single 5 minutes, and I wanted to vomit, but I didn't. I held it within because I don't like vomiting. Yeah. So I muscled through it, and I drank plenty of water. I made sure I was okay, and it put me out of commission for 2 days. Yeah. And it was really bad. Yeah. Like I would poop blood.
Oh my God, that's bad. Dude, that must have been something contaminated, because sushi being raw fish is like, it's not.
It's a risk itself to eat that kind of food. And I think my body was trying to get it out. Yeah. So that's why I was like blood in the toilet. Yeah. So no, it was not a good experience. Yeah. And I'm going to remember that for a while.
Yeah. You're probably never going to have sushi. How are you?
I haven't had sushi since.
Yeah. Okay.
What has it been, 2 years?
Yeah.
2.5?
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like a trigger for you, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's that pain that really reminds you of how bad it was.
Yeah. That's probably how it. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be as bad for your sister, but it might be. It might be if she thinks it was Panera, or if it was like if there's a connection in the brain that's made between Panera and vomiting. Right. You don't want to do that. Yeah. Like it's like, let's stay away from that.
Most people are so particular on their taste of food as well.
Right.
So, I've met people who can't eat steaks, and I've met people who just they can't have chicken in general. Right. So there's particular meats that people are specific to, that they just won't eat, and that they're afraid of eating, I guess.
Right.
Like I'll hardly have lamb, or I'll hardly have like those baby back ribs, like the ones that like chew off the bone. Yeah. I'm not a fan of that. Yeah. No. Yeah. Anything where you have to get like down and dirty. Tear apart.
Yeah, and there's a bone.
There's a bone too, and there's like a lot of fat on the bone too. They have to chew through, but you never really chew it. You just swallow it. Not really a fan of that.
No. I mean, I can imagine why, because I'm vegetarian myself, and I'm just like, looking at that, dude. It's a natural disgust. I mean, I've been raised to think that way, and it's just been ingrained in me. So
they do that at medieval times.
Oh, really?
On Beach Boulevard, they make you eat with your hands.
Yeah.
And they serve like only a couple items, like chicken, steak, like medieval time menu. But you have to get down and dirty with the food. It's like part of the experience. Yeah. But it's not a good place to eat.
Yeah.
But it's probably a good show, but it's not a good place to have dinner. Have something before or after. So yeah.
No. Wow.
We're so like spoiled with our type of food. It's like, well, I don't like fat. I don't like it cooked this way. I like it medium well done.
First world problems.
I like it medium well, by the way. But yeah, food is good in general.
Yes.
For you, it's always interesting because meat is not a part of your diet at all.
At all.
And it's hard for you to get the necessary nutrients you need. Protein, calcium. How do you get calcium?
Calcium, milk. Milk. I don't really take calcium tablets. I don't want to get. I already take so much, Like
you take a lot of tablets in general.
Yeah.
It's kind of worrying some.
Yeah, but usually just milk. So zinc. The main things I have to worry about is zinc. That's provided a lot in meat.
Iron.
Iron. Yes, iron is a key one.
Yeah.
Because of the red meats carry a lot of iron, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And protein is the main one. Protein is the number one factor there.
Right. Yeah.
Lean meats usually end up carrying a lot of protein. So the way I do it is I drink protein shakes, or I'll try to eat foods that are vegetarian that are high in protein, cheese, beans. But there's nothing compared to meat. Like when it comes to just pure protein concentration, there's nothing except protein shakes that compare.
It is a high concentration of protein in general.
Yeah.
I think it's just hereditary. Back in the day, through generations.
Yeah.
A lot of meat eaters.
Yeah.
But I think your ancestors
Didn't eat meat.
didn't eat meat at all.
No.
Yeah.
Very little, and as a consequence, the only protein they ever got was from milk.
Milk?
From what I know, yeah.
Just milk.
Just milk, and I don't even know if they ate cheese. Literally, all they ate was fats and carbs, mainly carbs.
Yeah.
Mainly carbs. Like if you look at all Indian desserts and everything like that,
Well, yeah.
it's sugar and carbs.
There's a lot of fast food places in India now that are capitalizing on that. They're just feeding them a lot of carbs and fats, like
time.
Domino's, other fast food chains.
Yeah.
They really capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's bad stuff, man.
Yeah, they actually, I think McDonald's is there too, and they increase the amount of carbs. and
really?
their fries and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That's not healthy.
That's how they know they've done their research.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. But after a while, your body gets used to. Your body's genetically built to handle carbs better, I guess, and not protein as well.
Okay.
Or as well as you would want it to be, right? Mm-hmm. Protein causes usually digestive problems if you don't eat enough fiber. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take into consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
I've always heard of like the perfect diet. What's the correct diet to go on?
There's no perfect diet.
There's no
That's
perfect
a facade.
diet.
That's a facade. There should be flexible eating as long as you know your macronutrients and you're getting your micronutrients in, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, when it comes to like trainers and workout coaches, they always like recommend their style of dieting.
Yeah.
And it always seems like they know what's best for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everyone's different in respect to what they eat, what they're used to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've heard people who only eat rice.
Oh God, what?
And greens in general.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is like the best diet overall.
Yeah.
They get like no proteins. They get no calcium, no iron. So it's very strange how people operate.
People are strange.
Yeah, they really are.
That's, I don't know. I don't get that, dude. I'm just like, I understand like there's hormonal effects with food. There's all these other things, but I mean, we survived, right? Like our ancestors survived on not tracking their, you know, macronutrients and micronutrients and calories.
Pull out the phone.
You know, like, I get it. You know, I think the main thing is that you have enough of a supply of food to keep you going in terms of energy needs. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, it's important to take health into consideration because you're going to reduce your risk of so many different diseases and things like that. But I would not overly stress it. As long as you don't have genetic predispositions, I wouldn't overly stress like counting for every small little grain of rice, you know, like every day. Just understand what you're eating, how many calories you're eating, what your macronutrients and micronutrients are, and if you're getting enough of each, and that's it. Go to the doctor, make sure that it's, you know, you don't have, if you have a genetic predisposition towards something that's bad, try to find foods and exercises that are going to help you reduce the risk of that, right? I think that's the best thing you can do, really. I mean, what else can you really do? Maybe build some muscle to help change your hormones and do cardio for heart health. And I think if you can do, generally speaking, those things on a consistent and regular basis, you should be living a healthy life, a long and healthy life, for the most part, right? There's going to be outliers, obviously, but I mean, for the most part, that's those general things most people don't even do, you know?
Well,
if you can,
I think a part of it is it's difficult for people to actually have a steady diet nowadays is because food is so accessible.
Yeah.
Especially in this
and
kind of culture.
Types.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a bunch of fast food chains that are trying to get you off your diet.
Yes.
In general.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity to just slack off.
Yeah.
In general. Because there's so much pleasure to be had in terms of like eating food. Mm-hmm. So there's different types of restaurants you can try. There's different buffets, especially here in Southern California.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like a melting pot of different cultures and their kind of foods that they offer. There's Korean barbecue, there's Mediterranean food, there's Indian food, and there's all these different types of fast foods that offer their kind of special taste.
How are you going to track all the calories and macronutrients in that?
Right, and are they even telling the truth? Who knows?
Yeah, on those occasions when I go out, I don't really track it. I just kind of guess.
You kind of like guesstimate.
Yeah. when you track your calories and your macronutrients enough, you sort of get an idea as to how to intuitively eat.
It's like a superpower you get?
Huh?
It's like a superpower you get?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can tell this is high in calories.
Yeah. Or like I can tell like this is sort of like based on the quantity and like how much fat fat, because fat's usually added to like the taste and everything like that. And what different types of foods contain what types of macronutrients. You can sort of guess. You'll probably be off a little bit, but you can sort of guess. And I think that's the best you can really do, because they're not gonna provide you with all like the information that you're asking for,
Right.
So for example, today we went to go eat at Mayan Tacos, Mexican restaurant,
Yeah.
and I had bean and cheese nachos.
Yeah.
Right. Cheese is very high in fats and proteins, more so fats than proteins, but
more fats.
There's some protein in there. Beans is usually carbs and protein, and chips are carbs, right? Because they're made from grains and whatever. Depending on the quantity, I couldn't guess that one. That one's a lot of food. I can guess there's a lot of calories in there.
There's a lot.
Densely packed, probably, but I'm guessing probably around 1,000 calories in that one.
That's a lot of calories.
Yeah. It was a big plate. Big plate.
He finishes the whole thing.
I finished the whole thing. It's so tasty.
It's amazing, yeah.
It's so tasty.
He weighs less than me, and he finishes the whole thing.
I have a high metabolism, guys.
He can go again. Yeah. I mean, nowadays, people are not physically aware of their health in America. Like we're seen as like the fat country. We're seen as like the obese country, right? And it's a problem. It really is, because most of my family, they're not physically the best they can be. Like I'm the skinniest guy. Actually, no, I'm not. If you want to go weight number, I'm like 212, 215, but I have like a family member who's like 210-ish. But I have a different body build overall.
Right.
And I'm been working out and exercising and really maintaining. So it's a hard lifestyle, because most people nowadays, they have a habit of always relying on like fast food or different types of fast accessible food that are not always the best for you. So, the usual day for a person in LA is go to work, stay at work for 9 to 5, and then come home. You're way too tired to cook or anything like that. Grab something on the way home. My dad does that all the time. And
me too.
Just call it a day. Go home. I mean, it's the most easiest thing to do. Like food's already prepared for you.
Yeah.
And do that every day.
Yes.
Now and then. So, yeah, that's a real problem. It's a problem with like time management and how to manage your own food intake.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are so accessible now. Like we can literally go to Taco Bell right now and get like a chalupa. You can get your Mexican pizza. I can get the Nacho Supreme, all for under $10.
Yeah.
So it's a steal. It really is.
Yeah. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win for everybody. They win, I win.
Yeah. Except for the cancer that's growing in my body.
My stomach doesn't win.
Because, preservatives and whatnot,
No one cares. They're just like, give me the food. It tastes good.
Yeah, no. So, I can feel it.
People have this lifestyle of being, addicted to that kind of food. When was the last time you had Taco Bell?
Not today, not yesterday. Not even the day before that, I think.
Has it been 2 days?
It's actually been
God.
Actually, it has been a decent amount of time. It's been like 4 days, I think, now.
4 days.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe even 5 days. I really can't remember the last time I ate Taco Bell, to be honest with you.
Oh wow.
This one's it's been somewhat of a longer streak than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did have Mexican food, which is practically Taco Bell. And like this, Mayan Tacos is practically.
Whoa, hey.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Taco Bell
cheese nachos,
is
like,
authentic Mexican food.
Yeah.
It's not Americanized at all.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, fast food. We've had an episode on that.
Yeah.
Refer to it.
Yes.
It's an interesting world, especially here in America.
Yes.
Didn't fast food start here in America?
Yeah. Probably, I think through McDonald's was the first one that got, expanded. It was one of the first, if not the first.
I wouldn't be surprised.
To expand.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, America.
Our stamp is all over the world.
We were talking about how capitalism is like the best thing, where competition is best for the market.
Yeah.
And with that, there's a bunch of different companies that will proliferate in respect to that field. So,
yes.
Power to America.
Yeah.
What time are we at? We are at, I can't see it. 33 minutes.
33 minutes.
Yep.
There we go. Yep. 33 minutes.
Wow.
Cool.
Yep. As you can tell, we're in Parth's room.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting, just closed room.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice bed. Yeah.
There's any girls watching?
That's creepy.
I'm just kidding. I'm
So-
just kidding, guys.
Yeah, third episode, pretty good.
Yes. Yes.
Look forward to it again.
Yeah.